Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Blue Thunder Pod AEW Edition. I'm your host, Billy Sullivan. With me, as always, my mom's favorite podcast host and a man with a more aggressive beard than Jack Perry, Dave Linovich.
I also seemingly have more soap than Jack Perry. For a guy that's the heir to a Hollywood celebrity, he is one of the dirtiest looking people I've ever
does look
seen.
like he has carpet mites in his beard.
He seems like a guy I would see on like a Facebook reel where like a barber took him in to clean him up, like
Yes.
it's a transformation, and then like he comes out as young, like 2018 Jack Perry.
He's got the look of some of the guys I used to go out drinking with. Some of the Polish persuasion back in the early aughts.
They've seen some shit
that went to Sturgis every year and took a lot of pride in having that look.
Oh, Jesus.
Jack's kind of going for that now. It's working for him, though, dude.
Yeah.
He's got more charisma than he's ever had in his life.
He's not saying much this week, but I guess he didn't have to say much.
But he said it in a better way than he's ever said. Like, remember him talking before?
Oh, he's way better at his job now. Who just knew that he had to dirty up a bit?
Dirty up, yeah. He had to go to Japan, which you'd think you'd get cleaner going to Japan. It's a much cleaner culture there.
They bidet there.
I have a bidet in mine.
I went to I had a connecting flight in Japan one time, and I didn't go anywhere in the country, but just in the airport, I'll never forget, there were 4 stalls, 4 bathroom stalls. 2 of them had toilets, and then the other 2 were just holes in the ground.
As a married to an Asian fella, I can tell you that is throughout the Asian world. I also, the only time I've been in Japan is a couple of times, but it was a layover on my way to other places. Usually the Philippines, once to Singapore.
Oh, that's where I was going, Singapore.
But Singapore's crazy, right? It's like Wakanda.
They got a boat on top of or of hotels. Did you, by the way, I'm not going to pass this up. Did you say you were married to an Asian fella?
No, as a married to an Asian fella.
Yeah,
I
heard what I wanted to hear.
I mean, whatever. There's nothing wrong with
There's
that.
nothing. Oh, I didn't say there was. It's just like, where are you hiding them? I've been in your home. I don't see them.
Yeah, if Maricel was a dude, she'd be the prettiest goddamn dude.
She would be. Yeah.
But yeah, all the bathrooms throughout most of Asia, like public places, it's like halvesies. More rural places in the Philippines, it's not even halvesies. It's like hole in the ground kind of thing. And I've been told that India is just hole in the ground. I don't know. I know there are smaller people, just in general. Like the Filipinos are the second shortest nation in the world after like Mexico, and I know Indians are generally a little smaller, but they're not that small. I don't know how those people don't destroy their knees squatting. I don't know. Playing catcher like 2 or 3 times a day, every day, your whole life.
Right.
I don't think I could squat and stay in a squat for more than 30 seconds once a day without having to have arthroscopic surgery to repair my knees.
Yeah. You sounds like you need some DDP yoga in your life.
First I needed to develop a real hardcore heavy duty drug habit. And,
it's a prerequisite.
He won't take you in unless you're you lost all your teeth.
Yeah.
Because he wants, that before and after picture.
Sure.
I think.
Marketing 101. People love watching the car crash.
Man's a hero.
Yeah.
Feel the bang. So, Dave, what were your thoughts on AEW Dynamite this week? Emanating from Edmonton,
Ontario, at Rogers Place, right next door to a giant watch party for the Oilers playoff game.
Shocked at the number of people and how into it they were there.
Overall, my first thought because I typically like to write as much as I can. It's not uncommon that I'm taking 15 pages of notes per show, right? Just because I want to get all the promos written down. Promo heavy show for AEW. Promo heavy show, which I did not love for my carpal tunnel.
I always think of it, whenever it's a super promo heavy show, I'm like, oh, Dave's right a lot here.
It's like, son of a bitch.
I very much appreciate that.
New bag of popcorn and everything. I eat a lot of popcorn when I'm typing. But no, the show was good. Some things were good. Some things were really good, and then you could tell they're like, oh shit, we got 2 weeks to a pay-per-view.
I also had that going in. I think they overperformed, based on what I saw on the card before, and because I think that they knew oh shit, Edmonton, and they're in a playoff game.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because they didn't have all the big stars out, they booked the show like it was a lesser show.
Yeah.
now the people that were on the show that were booked, they like stepped up and it made it a much more entertaining program than I expected.
Right.
Like looking at the card, a couple of things I was very surprised by, but there was definitely, I think, a cap on how good this episode could have been,
right?
Because of the way it was booked. Now the crowd like so pleasantly surprised me to the point that like had they actually booked the stars and
well, who wasn't on the show? Just
Osprey, but like.
Osprey and
none of the Callis family, like as far as matches go, like none of their bangers type of people outside of the main event, and that's not even really the main bangers.
The opener should have been a banger.
Yeah.
But
there was a story. We'll talk about it, but that was, I understand why they did what they did there, but
I have some new thoughts about the direction of this program after this, and it's not looking good for one of the guys in the sorry, I'm petting a dog and he's jumping on my lap. We'll get. I don't want to get to it too early. But yeah, no Osprey, no Undisputed Kingdom. That was what I noticed.
Yeah. No Osprey, no Undisputed Kingdom, no Takeshita. No. It's like it was a lighter. That always happens when it's international to a degree because they don't want to travel as many people or whatever. But it did feel like they were like, oh, we're probably not going to do a great number.
Yeah.
We're probably not going to get a great house, which they got a pretty good freaking house.
The house looked good, and it sounded international houses showed up this week.
Yeah, well, the one we'll talk about, guys, if you haven't listened to our WWE podcast for this week yet, it will drop at the same time as this one. We'll be talking about Backlash France, as well as regular weekly programming and doing a little preview for like our picks for the King of the Ring, at least for the matches that have not already occurred.
Right.
But two international crowds showed. The Canadian crowd prior to this week's Dynamite was awful.
Yeah.
So I was like, what is, and it was a better show last week too. This crowd was like going apeshit. Maybe because they were so fired up for the hockey that they were going to watch like right after the show.
That makes sense. What do we do before the game? Let's go to watch a professional wrestling show.
They got all drunk,
trashed,
went crazy, and
that sounds fun actually.
But they, it does with Canadians too. I'm sure it's a blast.
Yeah.
But they were great, and it elevated what like could have been a meh show to I enjoyed that pretty good, top to bottom. No big gripes about it, but it was like I thought the show last week was better, and this one elevated by the crowd a little bit. That was my take.
Yeah. There's some things that still I'm gonna have to ask you questions. I have conceded the phrase "that didn't make sense." I am now replacing it with "I'm just going to ask Sully what it means" on the show.
Or because that didn't make sense yet.
Right. But even some, we'll get to it. But the show cold open
with an announcement that made me like jump for joy because I was like, "Oh, that's going to kick fucking ass."
You're talking about
Edger.
Oh, yes. That gets mentioned in the promo, right?
Yeah.
So he gets interviewed. He's asked about how he's feeling after his Buddy Matthews match last week and how he's feeling about Brody King tonight. And he says, I'm not feeling too great. All this week, my mind's been kind of wandering into places I don't want it to.
So he's joining House Black.
100%. And I have to stop it. Tonight, it gets stopped. And then he goes to the camera. I want you to bring it in tight. I want you to bring it in tight.
Edge takes swings. He does.
I want you to bring it in tight. He didn't say it like that, but I'm not going to say it like that.
Said, pretty much. Whatever.
He said, I just got off the... This is where right away we're going to have to talk. I just got off the phone with Tony Khan, and he agreed with me tonight. It's going to be a no DQ match between King and Cope right here in Edmonton, House of Black. You wanted the Rated R Superstar tonight. You got him.
That the hardcore no DQ, I was like, oh, this is gonna fucking rule.
They're going to die.
Like Edge has a history, even back in WWE when I wasn't a giant fan. He's like the Mick Foley match was probably his best match ever.
Yeah, he pulled out a couple spots from that match too.
Awesome, yes he did. But it made me excited. You're gonna ask how Tony Khan has any power?
I certainly am.
Because they have established that he still is in power, but doing it remotely. He can't like do the boots on the ground stuff. So like if the people that are like second in command that are actually physically there want to muscle something into being, it's much easier for them to do that because they're physically at the place. But for something like approving a match to be a hardcore match, particularly one that the Elite doesn't care one way or the other. They wouldn't interfere or overrule that or whatever. So, like, yeah, he can still do that kind of thing.
Okay.
I mean, they've done it consistently. Shivani later in the show was like, "Oh, I'm on a text thread with Tony Khan. He said that we can do this," and it's basically anything that's not like going to be overruled by the Elite forcefully while they're there, like something that they can change because of their physical presence. He still owns the company.
Yeah. Right. And also, too, because Kenny Omega pulls an EVP move later, is it who has... Do Kenny Omega and the Bucks both have equal power?
I believe so. I think that's the way that Kenny, at least when he was cutting that first promo, that's the way he kind of laid it out.
So Matt and Nick technically are less than the sum of their parts because they're both...
Or they have 2 votes out of 3.
Well, that's what I add. That's what I'm getting. But like Kenny Omega made a match for Double or Nothing, and the Bucks didn't combat it at all.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I shouldn't have to think about this shit while I'm watching the show.
Yeah, but you know what, Dave? I think you're thinking about it a little bit more than you would if the same kind of shit was happening.
No, dude. Trust me. When we get to Monday Night Raw, I got some questions about that too. But
essentially, the way that I'm reading it is Tony Khan is like still the boss, but he is portraying himself in a way that he has been accused of being like a mark and a pussy and and gets walked on, and especially now that he's not physically traveling with the show, like his second and third in command or whatever, his EVPs are taking more advantage than they should even be able to, but are just doing it. And because Tony Khan's a pushover who is shown to be like a mark that was sitting next to them and doing whatever they said even before they attacked him, they're able to like run roughshod and do a lot of stuff that they shouldn't really be able to do. It's not like carte blanche though, especially when you have another person with power there that's like pushing against that or whatever. Right. And for this thing, the Edge and or Cope and Brody King thing, they wouldn't even like pay attention. I don't think.
No, which is so. I guess I don't like. So they gave him a Tony. They beat the shit out of him, right? And like he's just like, okay, you know what I mean? Like they brought him on. They brought him as to be an on-screen character for the first time ever. One week prior
and last. I hope.
And then like he gets on the screen. And like, yeah, he's clearly
he had done the thing they did a week prior. He's done a bunch of times where they just show him in gorilla, like doing his thing.
So so they bring him on screen. They kill him in the ring, and then he just is like, "Hey, everybody, I'm here in Jacksonville running the show." Like, fire these motherfuckers.
They can't.
He can't.
Ironclad contracts.
Dissolve the company and start a new one.
Ironclad contract, though. They covered that.
No,
it is something that's...
I understand that, but like. If they have power like in the building, Tony Khan ultimately has like power, and also this isn't where we need to send messenger pigeons.
No, but Tony Khan in kayfabe and a lot of people think in real life he's a pushover and a mark.
Sure.
So like that's what he's doing.
So he's willing to get his ass kicked and like still tolerate these people.
Yeah, that's like
what a gross human being.
That's what he's playing. That's what this whole thing is. Them. Leading into all the shit that people have been saying about them forever. I don't feel bad about is that the Bucks take advantage of their power. Like this going back years since the start of AEW.
That's why I don't feel heel heat for these guys, because I don't think they're doing anything wrong. I think they're beating up somebody that's
I didn't feel heel heat for them after the Tony Khan thing. I absolutely did after the Kenny Omega attack, because Kenny Omega came in and like did what Tony Khan really couldn't do, because he you don't feel sympathy, like you don't really have feelings for Tony Khan. I have lots of feelings for Kenny Omega, and he also can sell and act and like so like they needed to do that, which I'm glad they did. Like and that made me have the feelings for this program that I don't think would have existed if it would have just been Tony Khan. Because Tony Khan, as much as I appreciate that there's a billionaire dork that likes the same thing as I do, so like is the only reason that my favorite television program is produced, I don't give a shit about him at all. But
it does nothing.
I do care about Kenny Omega.
Right. It does not, and that's fine. Don't leave. If they did that, if they just made this a Kenny Omega versus the Young Bucks thing, it would have been 10 times better.
But for twofold, though, I think you do need to have Tony Khan kind of out of the picture. And the other big thing is he wanted to put that neck brace on and go on the NFL draft and have like 10 different national sports outlets talk about AEW, which happened.
Sure. And then he also called WWE the Harvey Weinstein of wrestling. It was not a great week.
It was a real bad mixed metaphor he made. Because he could have either said, like, because he was like, we're Pepsi, they're Harvey Weinstein. Either say, like, we're the up-and-coming producer and they're Miramax, or we're Pepsi, they're Coke.
We're Pepsi, they're Orbitz, or something, you know.
The Harvey Weinstein thing, like, I know what he's going for, but like that dude, the dude that you're calling, like he is, but he's also not there anymore. And like,
but no,
and it's also just for as an English guy, the mixed metaphor doesn't.
The dude is the company is not.
Yeah.
So it's like this. It was a train wreck.
You
of
should
an
say
interview.
Miramax.
The biggest takeaway from him doing anything with the NFL draft was that he called WWE Harvey Weinstein. Nobody gave a shit about that neck brace a week later.
But he was on every outlet and pub is pub. You know, that's what we were going for.
And a week later, the only thing anyone's talking about related to that is that he made a Harvey Weinstein reference.
I haven't heard anybody talking about that either. So when it happened,
I still see it coming up, like within the last day or two.
I talk about it a little bit because it's funny, but.
Like on all the sheets that I read.
But my point is that, like, using him to do that thing, he's a terrible on-screen
Nobody felt sympathy for him. To your point, we all care more about Kenny Omega.
At least he was smart enough, or they were smart enough to be like, hey, boss, we need to do this again with somebody that people care about.
No, this is what you do. You have already established that he's a pussy because he felt threatened by
and a huge mark.
Hang on, we felt threatened by CM Punk, and we saw what CM Punk did, and it was he took a step at him. I'm sorry, in the grand scheme of things, his life was never in danger. He could say it was.
I love that.
So lean into. I'm a big pussy. And then when the Young Bucks start bullying you, you go, hey, Kenny Omega, come be my heavy. And then he kind of becomes the proxy Tony Khan. We don't have to see Tony Khan on TV ever. We don't have to see him be physically awful in the ring.
I don't want him in the ring ever again.
And then you have proxy Tony Khan. It's Kenny Omega against the Young Bucks, and it's a good, evil power struggle.
But I think that it works much better with Tony Khan not around.
He wouldn't have been in the scenario if based on what I.
But I mean, like not traveling. Like I like the fact that he's not with the company.
No
right
one
now.
knew he traveled
just doing
anyway.
stuff
he
like,
wasn't there. He wasn't important on
like I said, they did show him in Gorilla quite a bit,
like twice,
and like 5 times an episode. Tony Schiavone be like, "Oh, Tony Khan on my earpiece right now is telling me that he's making
they did that now via just cell phone,
but just once. It was like a text thread.
No, Adam Copeland walks in and says it, and then Tony Schiavone says, "Oh, I just got approval for this." He's still very available.
Yeah, but he is not like physically
it doesn't
available.
matter.
I think it does. I think
I do not think it does.
I mean, it's just a matter of taste.
Yeah.
Like vibe wise, I think it is better to have him completely out of the picture. And then I do agree with you though that like if he does return to, I don't want him on screen beyond the gorilla thing. Yeah. I wouldn't mind him having some kind of a hero, like it should have been Kenny Omega, but Kenny Omega's not capable of wrestling yet.
Totally. That's fine. Let the bad guy. This is the Lion King, man. Let the bad guys rule for a while until everybody heals up and grows up.
I think they're gonna win at the pay-per-view, and I do think they're gonna.
The heels have to win.
Yeah.
Who they're fighting.
So that's what's going to happen.
Yes.
What you just asked for.
No,
they're going to dominate and
I'm fine.
Be evil and
win
until MJF probably returns with Tony Khan. Like,
what, did you see, where is it, Long Island? What's in Long Island? Some pay-per-view coming up.
Oh, no.
There's something coming up in Long Island.
That's pretty sexy, though. They just did the very fake seeming like with Adam Cole. Oh, MJF's actually much more injured than we thought. And now he has to have surgery or whatever. Yeah. After nobody asked.
Unless I made Forbidden Door.
Oh goddamn!
Yeah, in September.
I'm very excited. Forbidden Door sounds like it's going to be much more Stardom
June
heavy now.
They got to have him there. They have to. Why would you book it long? That's the one thing. He tips his hat real hard with, like, we all know where all our big heroes are from now.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, long story short, I would like Tony Khan to have never been an on-screen character. And also too, like I think Jack Perry could be a little saltier. He did not have a job for like 8 months. He's being plenty salty now, but
he was pretty salty here.
But he's not doing anything.
And he did facilitate the assault of the man that fired him.
I didn't love how that went.
the big underlying problem with that just segment is that Tony Khan is incapable of performing. So it made everything like, yeah. And then they had to like correct that by having a good performer do it the following week.
Jack Perry said, like, in the ring, he's like, basically, like, can I come back? And Tony Khan's like, yeah, you can come back. And then they beat the shit out of him. And then I guess they went back and did paperwork after they beat the shit out of him.
I'm sure the Bucks had that stuff all like written up or whatever
they can
already.
Sign contracts?
And the only reason that they...
See, this is why I don't understand the power.
The only reason that they had Tony Khan come out was like to lure him to the ring, to humiliate him in front of the, televised audience and the people there, like in his home base.
See, things like this don't fucking make sense. That's like it's a good angle, and they just that one week of programming muddied. Then this is what their kind of coup de grace is like. They're really good at like one little thing muddying like the following 3 weeks of programming.
I agree with you there. I disagree with the like. I think it makes plenty of sense, like as much sense as a wrestling program needs to for me. As long as you give me an explanation, even if it doesn't pass like legal muster, I'm okay with it. Yeah. Like I do agree, it was the only misstep was putting Tony Khan out there physically. They should have done like an assault off screen where they tell us about it or whatever, and then you could still do the Kenny Omega thing. The thing that took away from that was that he's just terrible. He shouldn't be on camera, and
he reacted to the wrong injury.
He didn't know anything. It's amazing that a guy that has watched wrestling for 40 years and has owned a wrestling company for 5 still doesn't understand what really you're supposed to do.
No.
Man, he's a little bit better at talking like when he's doing his like hype up stuff. Remember like in 2019, it was like Lord Albert Hayes level, like, I'm trying to talk now. And at least now he can like get his, we're having a great night, all great. Like, but that's the extent of what he should ever do.
He also doesn't understand that microphones amplify your voice and you don't have to scream in them or sound like you have a frog in your throat every time you talk.
With Tony Khan not there live, AEW had the best produced show they've had in weeks.
Are we actually believing he's not there?
I think he probably is doing it remotely.
Oh.
Because there is a bunch of Jaguar stuff going on. There's like the draft and then you're signing. He has responsibilities there. I think he did it because it tied in pretty well.
Right.
And my hope is that he's like delegating some of this to some of the like Bryan Danielson or whatever, some of the people that know the business a little better than him. The production. This like was the best lit, best shot, best mic'd Dynamite in weeks.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's because I know that the new director guy, I read somewhere that this was like his first doing the whole thing. And maybe that's part of the other thing about Tony's not there because he's not going to be in Gorilla because this new director guy is going to be the guy sitting in that position.
Right.
But everything actually across the board on all wrestling programs was like picture perfect when it comes to the production side of things. But as far as the Bucks, I still think that Elite story is the best and most interesting thing going. The only drawback being that Tony Khan can't act or sell or know how to behave like a human on camera.
We'll get there. They show up again a couple times. They do terrific shit. They do terrific shit on the show. Don't get me wrong.
They very much do.
But just again, the a little bit like 2 or 3 more questions in the production.
A little bummed that we didn't get a staring off into the middle distance, thinking about something else and getting pissed off Nicholas Jackson moments. Because after you pointed it out, I realized like he's done it a bunch of weeks in a row, and he didn't really do it too much.
He was
week.
Funny on the show though.
Yeah, he was.
He had some funny lines. One thing they're doing right, they after the cold open with Adam Copeland, they do the show intro. And it's
that could be a segment, the cold open with Adam Copeland.
But it's the Cope Open.
It could be his that still sounds better.
Cold open with Adam Copeland. Cold open with Adam Copeland. That's hard to do.
The cold open, like he could like the barbershop or the what was who had the flower shop? That was way back in
the flower shop.
Yeah. It was like the barbershop. It was the big fat guy that they back when wrestling was like super homophobic, they had him dress up like in dresses and stuff, and this was like mid '80s probably.
Ugh, not ringing a bell.
You know him, but it's not important. But anyway, they could do one of those things and like have like Jericho used to do, open a show with an interview segment with Edge hosting, calling it the cold open with Adam Copeland.
Yes.
I went a long way around to get to that.
No,
it
was worth it.
Now in the back of my mind, I'm going to be distracted trying to think of who that dude is that.
Well, while you do that, what I was going to say was the opening video was the Elite version, where it's just the 4 guys in the Elite. They removed everybody else. So they're swinging their powerful wieners there.
Which is well produced. It's not like a slapdash one either. It feels like a real open.
Well, they just plugged in different pictures and After Effects.
Yeah, but like you could half-ass that. And they really have because they used to do terrible with this video stuff. All of their video package stuff has gotten really good.
Yeah.
And this includes even like the bullshit ones.
Well, I mean, hire good people and you get good quality things, which is a wild concept. The good quality thing I thought was going to happen in the first match on the show was not a good quality thing. And what should have been a goddamn blood feud. Orange Cassidy versus Trent Beretta. It went 13 minutes, 17 seconds. I think this could have 5 minutes could have been shaved off of this, no problem, because it got really slow at points. And given the story, because they started real hot in this match, and then they got then they just worked it like a normal ass.
I thought they toed the line pretty decent. I wouldn't have booked this.
This feels like it should have been from the pay-per-view.
Well, I think it is going to be. I think this is like a lead into that, and it's a real hard thing to do. Remember I was talking about how brilliant that Sami Zayn, Chad Gable regular TV match was a few weeks ago, because I was like, oh, that's them showing you like the perfect way to have a TV match where you don't give them everything, but it's still great.
Right.
When there's going to be a pay-per-view match where you know they are going to give you everything.
Right.
That's what it was, and it's really hard to do. I just wouldn't have booked the match. I would have made it a multi-man if you had to do anything or something like that. I thought they pulled it off more than it sounds like you did, but because they did show like at least some of the blood feud. I'm pissed.
Yeah.
And then it kind of fell into muscle memory. I am wrestling a match.
Yeah.
So we're going to go into holds and stuff.
Yes.
Which you probably would do too. Like, you're a wrestler wrestling every day. You'd fall into some old habits. This match, I think, is going to kick ass when they eventually do it for real.
Right.
But this was like, I just wouldn't have booked the match. I think they did what they could with the situation at hand.
Yeah.
But like, I just wouldn't have booked it as a one-on-one at this point, because it's a real hot feud between these two. Like,
well, also too, one big gripe I had is Trent knows he's a different guy now, right? New gear, new music. He comes out to the Best Friends music. He hasn't changed shit about his presentation.
He doesn't think he's different. He thinks he's the right one. He's always been the right one. It's this other asshole that has been messing with everything.
He's not popular enough to be that meta. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, like meta's been his whole shebang
It
for,
doesn't
and
work.
It
didn't work.
end that way, because I think Don Callis eventually is going to
pick Trent.
Of
course he is.
And that's when he'll get his repackaged and new music and stuff. Right now, he's just like, I'm still me.
Yeah.
You people just don't realize that this other asshole is the guy that screwed things up for everybody.
Right.
So he's not going to change that stuff like now.
Then even more underlining to your point, this match shouldn't have happened yet, because he
came
came out and I was like, why?
Yeah, I wouldn't have booked it. I would book, have him fight Shibata or like another one of Orange Cassidy's million friends that he has.
Have him don't fight. Have Orange Cassidy fight and have him just keep fucking shit up for Orange Cassidy until the pay-per-view.
Do that too. I like having one or the other on TV every week, because it is a hot angle that they're doing, but I just wouldn't have had this like a straight one-on-one. No. Although I did get to hear Excalibur say elbow suicida, which makes me happy boy every time, because I'm pretty sure he made it up and he just loves saying it. Because it sounds like ridiculous. Yeah. It sounds like he's still calling PWG matches elbow suicida. Yeah. Like, it's hard to take serious, but in a good kind of way.
Right. We skipped over something that I had to rewind a couple times just to see if they were gonna get fined for it or not. When Orange Cassidy came out, they showed a very chesty young lady, and her guy friend pulled her shirt to the side, and like she grabbed her top, and I'm like, did she just flash the camera? And she did not. But it came very close.
But her boyfriend assaulted her and did flashing the camera.
Whoever the guy was that clearly just drinks like Ice House. Also, they mentioned Taz is on the mend. He will not be on commentary.
Missed Taz, but Callis was great.
Callis is better than Taz.
He's not Callis.
Yes.
Nope.
Better.
He's a better like actual wrestling guy. Taz is funny as hell though.
Taz is just Taz is like the regular at the bar. Like he just shoots the shit.
I wouldn't mind having both of them on the commentary crew because they bring two very different things to the table. Callis, amazingly, like he does such a great job of towing the line. He's like is a heel, but he's like a Bobby Heenan almost, where he's calling it like it's his job to call it. He's not shirking his duties just because he's a heel.
Right.
I also like in this too his involvement in this match where he comes out and he's going back to doing the invisible hand stuff, which is the best Don Callis.
Yeah.
It's not just overt, I'm a bad guy. It's fun when he goes out and gets booed real loud or whatever.
Wait, what the hell's an invisible hand?
So that's what he was doing.
What is it?
It's the guy pulling strings behind the scenes. You don't know really what's going on until it happens. He always called himself the invisible hand, like throughout his tenure in AEW. I think even prior to AEW.
I've never heard him say that.
Yeah, that's what he was.
I'm not paying attention.
He was the invisible hand, which it was better for him. It was like he would make things happen, but you didn't realize what he was doing until it was already done. And then you were like, oh shit, Callis was behind it all along. Like that's kind of what the vibe he's giving off now with this. Like I'm not sure what he's doing. He's coming out like kind of talking to different people that you don't expect. It's not very
invisible. We know exactly what he's doing.
Well, it can't be completely because it's, but it's not as overt. It's just, I'm going to walk out to the ring with my 4 big goons and talk on the mic and get booed. And we're going to tell you that we're going to kill these guys. He's doing schemy shit. And I like schemy Don Callis.
Right.
Is my favorite Don Callis.
Right. So like we mentioned, the hockey fight started, the match, proper build for this. I'm sorry, proper heat given the build for this. They choose right now to tell us that in just over 50 minutes there's going to be a face-to-face between Swerve and Christian, which I kind of liked. Like I didn't realize. I'm like, oh yeah, why don't they count down? Like if I thought they were going to leave it in the corner the whole time, and I'm like, oh, and then just put the next thing up there. I'm like, I've never seen that, and I kind of like that.
I had that similar thought too. I'd be like, yeah, cool. It would be much like with the rankings. You're then giving yourself some work that might be difficult to pull off because so many things happen in wrestling shows. We always hear about like, oh, you got to cut 2 minutes now because of that, and that might get fucked up. But I do like the concept.
I enjoyed it. It felt very video game-ish. And then they announced Kenny Omega has an important announcement tonight. They're just running down the entire card, like in the middle of this. It's a multi-year blood feud that they're giving us right now.
Yeah.
It's just bad booking. They fight into the crowd. They fight into the seats. They come back into the ring.
Wait, what's bad booking?
They shouldn't have been on the show.
Just the match.
Match shouldn't have been on the show.
Yeah.
No, it's a badly booked match.
It's a bad idea to put.
It's a terrible match.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
And then two, not only like it's. I just try to imagine like after. Remember when of course you do. Triple H was the guy revealed to beat up Shawn Michaels in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And imagine during that match, they're like, tonight we're gonna hear from. They're like, no, everyone was so fixed by what was going on in the ring because this was built to be so. He ended.
And to your point, it's coming off of a match where he just bloodied the shit out of.
He ended the
his
dude's career.
Friend. They did. I did note in this match the Excalibur said
very detailed.
Said probably never going to wrestle again.
Did you hear the detailed injury that I didn't want to write down?
Yeah.
It sounds horrific.
It sounds awful.
My God.
But he did say probably this time, and it was definitive last time. But it was only definitive when Orange Cassidy said it, which makes me wonder what were Orange Cassidy's motives in saying it that way.
Yeah. Maybe to trick Trent into a false sense of security.
Yeah, there's something going on. That's all I know.
They fight back. It's basically just a brawl. It's fun. The match isn't even that good.
Yeah, it was fine.
One thing that
again, you don't book this match because you got to toe that line.
No.
So they can't do all their great stuff.
No, and they couldn't do all their great stuff because Trent wasn't even interested in winning the match. He didn't go for a cover a single time. So if you're going to have this thing be, I'm going to brutalize a guy I don't hate, Not here. Not tonight.
Yeah.
Save it for the pay-per-view.
And yeah, for the pay-per-view, plus you just did the brutalize the guy in a much worse way than you could possibly do on this show here. Like,
this was such a dumb idea.
I just wouldn't have booked it.
No. And and then like you mentioned, Don Callis gets off of commentary. No, he comes out at this point.
Yeah,
he's not on commentary.
My favorite thing when Don Callis walks out, how perplexed he looks always when everybody starts booing.
Yeah,
why would you? Like, he legitimately looks like, why would you possibly boo me? I don't understand.
A lot of boos. He gets on the mic and he says, he gets on commentary and he says, "It's nice to have a friend. It's real nice to have a best friend, but it's better to have a family."
Yeah, good line too.
And then Trent's hitting claymores, pile drivers. He doesn't try to win a single time, and like, I don't know, the vibe just doesn't fit. And like, now that you mention what they were trying to go for here, which not new music, not new gear. If he's trying to be like, oh, I'm right and everybody else is wrong, he's not conveying that on the mic when he's doing, but he's just saying, he's trying to convince Trent up until this point, like, what a piece of shit this guy is.
Again,
he hasn't said to you people are taking his side and not mine. He hasn't you people us yet. So he hasn't.
Well, I don't think he's like even looking at the people I don't think he's recognizing that he's being booed.
Oh, even worse.
Whatever.
Then we can't even be in on the joke.
I think he is, his thing is like, no, I'm right. I know it. And everybody will recognize that eventually, kind of thing.
You got to.
At least
you got to let us play, though.
To me.
You can sit there and do your own thing. You got to let the people.
You
got to give the people what they want.
I like everything about it, except they just wouldn't have booked this match on this show. Just continue the build in some other way.
Yeah. So the finish had Trent Beretta. This is kind of a fun finish, actually. Trent Beretta takes off a turnbuckle. The ref stops him, and while those two are doing their thing on the other side of the ring, Orange Cassidy on the opposite side of the ring takes off a turnbuckle. Yeah. Nobody sees it. Orange Cassidy pulls Trent Beretta's face into the exposed turnbuckle and just rolls him up for the W.
So Orange Cassidy cheats too at the end of the match.
Oh, of course he does, because
something's going on.
Well, he's winking that he's siding with bad guys.
I think it's a red herring, and it's going to be Statlander and Trent that end up in the Don Callis family, which. Cool.
She keeps showing
up too. Every time, and she doesn't not in the way that she used to when it was best friends. Right. It's always in a kind of ambiguous who I'm helping out here kind of way.
Absolutely. I couldn't have been more annoyed that Trent Beretta completely no-sold, getting his face pulled into an exposed turnbuckle, which has historically kept guys down until the pay-per-view goes off the air.
Pinned?
He got after his face got thrown into a fucking turnbuckle, exposed turnbuckle, and then he got right up.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, sorry, I didn't
he sat up and did like the seething face thing, and then
I do remember him doing like the angry.
What are you doing?
Seething face thing.
You just got out with the thing. Sell the thing. No, not no.
I mean, it wasn't as bad as like half the shit that happened to him in the parking lot brawl like the week prior.
Then this shouldn't have made him lose.
It could be enough to pin the guy without like murdering him.
So much incontinuity.
It's not incontinuity.
It's a ton of incontinuity.
It's just you can take more damage in AEW.
You can take more damage in 2024 than you could in 1999, apparently, because that ended careers 20 years ago, and now it doesn't.
But that's true across the board in wrestling.
Right.
Like, everything, all of wrestling.
Then why do it?
Is escalated.
Then why do it? Why do the spot if it's not going to do anything?
It did something. It just didn't do the same thing that it used to do. Just like every other thing in wrestling, like it's still a thing that couldn't win a match for you, but it doesn't like put you out for a month like it could have in 1986.
I don't like that.
It's
not my brand.
The same thing as
not my flavor. Sorry.
But it exists in WWE just as much.
That would end a match in WWE.
It ended the match in AEW.
I'm not done. People would sell that in WWE. They wouldn't pop right up. Who would not sell that? Who knows sells in WWE? That's not a woman.
Whoever sells after a pin in WWE, they roll out of the ring within milliseconds of the pin.
Right. And then they're never seen from again.
But if they're capable of rolling out of the ring, that's the same as being capable of sitting up and being angry.
One of these things is more egregious than the other one. Sitting up and looking like you're mad is way worse than rolling out of the ring and giving the other guy the shine.
In universe, AEW, you can take more punishment because they're doing the Japanese style kind of thing. It's stupid if you don't like wrestling. But
apparently I
don't like wrestling.
So what I'm learning from this, the more we do these, is I don't like wrestling because I like consistency and storytelling, and this company is really bad at it.
I disagree completely about their consistency and storytelling. Not for the tenure of the company. I think that this year's been their storytelling has been very good. they've had a very checkered history with consistency in storytelling, but as has the Fed.
I think if someone gets hit in the face with a piece of metal, they should sell the piece of metal. That's all. It's not rocket science.
Yeah. But we've seen that happen a zillion times over the last 40 years, and it just wins a match.
I'm saying what I'm saying. We don't have to. We're never going to agree on this, but I think it makes him look.
I saw Kevin Owens do a thing that should have killed a guy at the pay-per-view, and they didn't even win the match.
Right.
But I'm not complaining about it because it was fucking awesome.
Well, when we get to that, I'll complain about that too.
That's true. I'll give you that. You're consistent. I think you're right. I think it's.
If I get hit in the face with a pipe, I know what that feels like. That's all I'm saying. Hit in the face with a pipe? If I get hit with anything,
I got no goddamn idea.
I've walked into trussing on the weekends. More bigger than a pipe. But
you are consistent, and like when I say that you don't like wrestling, by the way, for the record, I'm just busting balls there. Dave loves wrestling, obviously. It's just different flavors.
Fucking podcast,
different flavors.
Wrestling podcast.
But I do think that the flavors are a little bit closer than you think.
No, this is called playing up the character. Some of you people think I'm actually fucking leaning this hard into it, which is making me. It makes me do it even more, which is fun.
I'm going to delete that because I want people to continue to believe.
Boop. Trent beats the shit out. We're still on this fucking match.
Did you hear that last thing you just said, by the way?
What?
You know how many arguments Dave and I have had about wrestling off mic? Zero.
Zero. So he attacks Orange Cassidy, pile drives him on the ring steps, slingshots him into the ring frame. He goes to get a toolbox. Orange Cassidy has a chair. Don Callis gets in the middle of them, stops it, and then Statlander comes out, refs come out. Don Callis walks away with Orange Cassidy. Chris Statlander tells Trent Beretta to put the weapon down, and he clearly mouths, "Shut the fuck up." And Trent Beretta is saying, "It's about me now. No friends, just me." So there you go.
I'm like a 13-year-old boy. I love blood. I love when they say fuck on regular TV. All that stuff.
AJ said it on the Backlash pay-per-view, too.
AJ also got down to not so swell anymore. Yeah. And he's awesome again.
Yeah. He can move again.
I love Don Callis so much. I can't wait for Chris Statlander to be a part of that family.
Absolutely. This was the next segment. The Elite were sitting in a parked car, making out with each other. Oh, I'm sorry.
We get the Kenny recap, didn't we first?
Not yet.
Oh,
no, that comes
I always shit's out of order.
How did you not correct me from saying the Elite were making out in their car?
Very well may have been.
They were all kissing each other in the car. They got to learn. So this is a company-wide thing in AEW. I watched WWE before I watched AEW, so I don't know if that's a live TV thing. They got to start lying about the countdown of when the camera's rolling, because they start acting like once the camera's in focus. You know what I mean?
I like when, if they're doing it right, they incorporate it, which I'm fine with because it enhances the realism. Well, they'll do the, "Are you rolling yet?" It especially works back when Cutler was doing it all the time. But it still works when they're like, "Are we on? Are you in focus?" And then they start going.
Yes.
But when it's just as the camera comes into focus, and then they're like, "Okay, let's start our cues."
Right.
That's when it gets jarring. Yeah.
That's why my initial note was, they're sitting in a parked car, and I go, wait, they're not parked. They're supposed to be driving, but this is how they're starting the scene, right? Just whatever. They're looking for parking, and then. This is when Matt Jackson turns around and goes, "Cameraman, you buckled up back there?" "All right, dork." Yes. And Nick Jackson goes, "What a dump this place is." He has his delivery.
You know what? I said he didn't do one. He did right there. I forgot about it. What a dump this place is.
And then Matt Jackson goes, "I hate Canada." And then they park.
I hate Canada.
They park in a spot reserved for Tony Khan.
This looks like a good spot. Nobody's using it.
It was good. Just a nice reminder that they're physically in charge of the show,
and giant douchebags,
and they're gonna, and they had a guy move a cone.
We
skipped over that. The Kenny Omega thing was next. So first they recap what happened last week. They show the attack on Rampage, which I think you talked about last week.
Yeah, because
so,
it carried over onto the next. It was still on.
TV.
It was it was the end of Dynamite.
Did they put the copyright at the bottom?
But I didn't even realize it was. I was watching Rampage. It was. I thought it was just an overrun for. Oh, this Dynamite got a huge ass overrun too. Yeah. I wonder if that is part of the story too. But
they do bring that up on the show. Remember when WWE Monday Night Raw and the War Zone were two separate shows,
listed separately. wasn't for a small amount of time. One was like TV 14 and the other was TVMA.
That sounds about right.
I think the second half became TVMA.
You accidentally saw wardrobe malfunctions in the second
you
one.
get to see Kitty's boobs on the war zone.
Yay, Jerry Lawler. Unemployed Jerry Lawler now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't feel bad for him. Sorry,
No,
I've heard what he's done.
Piece of shit.
Kind of. I think the courts will.
He didn't
agree
want
with
anybody
me on
to know that Brody Christopher was his son because it made it harder for him to hit on schoolgirls if they knew that he had a 35-year-old son.
Well, there's that.
Allegedly.
So yeah, they recap from last week, and then they do the Jack Perry promo before Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
Jack Perry, he goes, Kenny Omega, is that the best you got? You know, you're not as bad as you think you are, but I hope that you had fun hitting all your old moves in your hometown for what's probably the last time in your entire life. And the thing that hurts me the most, Kenny, is that you are not the hero that we needed you to be. When it came down to it, you were a coward like everybody else. And the truth is the Elite doesn't need you anymore, and neither does AEW, because we are here. We are going to change the world without you. We all have to sacrifice, and you just made yours. Homeboy cut a damn good promo.
Best promo of his career, as far as I'm concerned.
Career.
Like, man, there's not a ton of ones to stack him up against, but like way better than anything I've ever seen him cut. It all like it wasn't just the delivery was great. It fit the story too. It fit going all the way back to like when there was the fight, when the initial fight happened. Kenny Omega was the one that didn't actually physically take part. He just helped the dog.
Yeah.
And so that even ties into the you were a coward when you should have been backing up your boys, the Elite. They're your guys. Like, I don't know, it was all good.
Yeah. Nothing, there was zero fat in this promo.
Jack Perry apparently went to some acting classes over in Osaka or wherever he was.
Again, I don't know what's going on over there. People go to Japan. People go there as Albert, and they come back as Lord Tensai.
Just wait till Mercedes 1A gets her first match in AEW. We're gonna be like, oh my god, it's the second coming of Manami Toyota.
The car?
No, potentially the greatest wrestler of all time. Definitely the most innovative wrestler of all time.
There's not a Toyota named
There's a absolute legend. She's the one. Manami Toyota is the wrestler that whatever your favorite wrestling move is, she probably invented it in the 80s or 90s. Yeah. She's absolutely amazing. And that's what Mercedes is going to be when she starts, because she went to Japan.
And she was all-wheel drive as well. So next we have the Kenny Omega sitting in a hospital bed. And he's
like Gerald Ford is the name too, right?
Yeah.
I don't care. Yeah, he's not a car.
No, he's manual.
You can have the car name.
Nah. Steve Ferrari is probably a person.
It's got to be like Giuseppe Ferrari, right?
I gotta see if Steve Ferrari's a guy. Yep. He sure is. He's got an Instagram and everything.
He's probably an indie wrestler.
He was an actor.
Close.
What was he in? This looks like Game of Thrones or some shit.
Come on. There can't be like a notable person named Steve Ferrari.
No.
It sounds like a guy that wrote a book about being a pickup artist or something.
There were a couple. I don't know if he will get no traction on his social media from this.
Respect the cock and tame the cunt. Frank T.J. Mackey from Magnolia.
Oh, wow. That's a deep cut. It's going to start raining frogs.
I got to match your My Girls.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about Magnolia. It's a great movie.
Yeah, it is.
So Kenny Omega sitting in a hospital bed, he said, I really must apologize. I know I don't seem like myself. I wish I could have been there in person in Edmonton tonight, but it turns out that your EVPs had other plans in mind. 15 years, you guys were like family to me, and yet here we are. Well, here I am at the ER. Hard to not take what you did to me personally, so I really feel like I had to thank you, Matthew, for reminding me that what you did wasn't personal. It was business. Well, as an EVP, he was one take, or whatever take this was, he crushed it, but sometimes they trip over the words.
Yeah.
Well, as an EVP, I guess would mean I have business to take care of too before I get all of this taken care of. And he points to all of the tubes coming out of him because he looks like he's about to go in with a knife.
Selling all of it much better than Tony Khan did.
Yes. Yeah. Tony Khan would have the tubes coming out of his hair.
He was like at the draft, bouncing his head around laughing.
In the wrong way. Oh, right. He wasn't even selling it like a real neck injury. And that got me thinking, May 26th marks the 5-year anniversary of where this all started, Double or Nothing. And I figured since you guys would like to stroll to the beat of your own drum, that you'd like to make your own rules, why don't you throw the rule book out the window? Anarchy in the arena, no rules. The Young Bucks, Okada, and Jack Perry against Team AEW. 2 names off the top of my head, the greatest tag team in AEW history, possibly the greatest tag team in all of professional wrestling history. 2 guys who had the courage to step up to FTR. And as for the other 2, I'm really new to this matchmaking thing, but something tells me that on a first-come, first-serve basis, they'll reveal themselves to you later tonight, sooner than you think. Until we meet again, Young Bucks, Kazuchika, Jack, I must bid you adieu, goodbye, and good night. Bang.
I love Kenny. He's great.
He went away and just got good at talking.
Yeah, much better.
Like he was
always
never
okay promo, but a little bit awkward.
Yeah.
This last 2 promos have been like outstanding.
Yeah. It's like he's got real like elder statesman.
Did you hear? He was talking about how he wanted to be presented. He was talking about the way that Roman Reigns was presented over the last couple of years on his Twitch stream or whatever. Okay. And he was like, man, that's exactly how I would like to be presented in my company. And I wonder if he's like kind of using some of that stoicism and like seriousness and promo cutting that Roman did. Because that's kind of what he's done these last 2 weeks.
Right. It makes him more threatening.
Love it. Yeah. Makes him feel a lot more like how Roman was presented. Yeah. Like he should be the final boss guy, or like the super hard to beat guy, you know.
Yes,
he's kind of got him Omega. It was great. I kind of saw the Anarchy in the Arena thing coming after thinking about like, why would FTR? Oh, because it's going to be a multi-man. It's that pay-per-view, so it's going to be Anarchy in the Arena. That match, we'll talk about who the rest are going to be in this match when we get to it in the show. I do like when they give you the tease for who's going to be the surprise guys in the same show, because for too many years we had to deal with, and we'll find out who the surprise opponent or team member will be in 2 weeks in Vancouver or whatever shit. I like when they're like, before the end of the show,
right?
You'll see. It's
also, this was a long show, at least for me and all the notes I had to take. By the time the announcement came, I was like, oh yeah, we're doing this tonight. It was a very nice way to end the show. My fingers started getting real sore during this next segment, which, man, took me down a peg for liking Miss Serena Deeb. And I was not alone. Because
not a great promo, Dave.
Huh?
Deeb?
You liked it?
No, I said she's not a great promo.
Oh, I thought you said it was a great promo.
She just isn't a great promo. That's
Tony Storm said what I was...
She
didn't say what I was thinking, but like the crowd and Tony Storm kind of like, I'm like, all right, I'm not thinking incorrectly here. So Serena Deeb comes out to already not much of a reaction, and she's waving her arms.
Which is still bullshit, because she's awesome.
She's a tremendous wrestler. And she's waving her arms up to hype the crowd up, which is never a good sign.
Yeah. I hate that. Yeah. It's so needy. It's tough. Every time.
It's tough. Shivani asks her if she's ready for her match coming up against Toni Storm. Serena says, and I'm going to read this whole thing because of course I'm excited. I'm wrestling because all right. I'm wrestling for the Women's World Championship in Las Vegas at Double or Nothing, and I'm wrestling the great Toni Storm, and I'm aware everybody loves Toni Storm, myself included, and I'm also very aware of this narrative going around of people saying Deeb is not going to be able to defeat Toni Storm. Is there a narrative going around?
No. She just showed up last week.
We couldn't hear what she said anyway. You could have started fresh.
Yeah, you said you're going to go for the title, and everybody was like, oh, that's somebody that could beat her. Yeah. So no.
There was no narrative. And as much as that upsets me to hear, I get it. And so I thought it was important for me to come out here and explain my reasons why losing a Double or Nothing is not an option for the professor. You don't have to explain shit.
No,
this is not a debate.
Let Toni Storm do the talking in the build to this.
That's fine. Say nothing. just twist her little pretzel. Yeah. Serena Deeb continues. Several months ago, I finally made my in-ring return to AEW after a very long 15 months on the shelf, and it was the hardest, without a doubt, 15 months of my entire life. At this point, a "Let's Go Oilers" chant breaks out, and Serena stops to acknowledge it, grins when she realizes it's not for her, and then just shrugs her shoulders and moves on. She goes, for the people that don't know and are not aware of the story, last year I suffered a series of 3 unprovoked seizures, and it's the hardest experience I've ever had.
Did you know about that? I had no goddamn idea.
I never heard of it.
AEW is very good company-wide. at keeping medical stuff private.
They're
like
unreasonably good. Where you're just like, I can't find a hint. I can't find a wink.
Unless the performer themselves wants people to know, you don't find out.
No.
Like Brody Lee, nobody knew anything about it until he passed.
Yeah.
Like
to this day, they're still pretty good at being like, what was that for sure? But she says, this weight on my shoulders at all times of the possibility of it happening again, it was so scary. And I saw all the doctors. They did all the brain scans and everything to try to figure out why this happened, and I couldn't figure it out. Nobody could explain to me why this is happening. The hardest part is sometimes you don't know what causes seizures. Makes me excited for a wrestling match.
Well, I thought what she was building towards here was going to be like, and because of that, if I can't beat Toni Storm at Double or Nothing, I'm going to hang up the boots.
Yeah.
And there was not a payoff there.
She did not.
There's no reason for this.
There's another chunk for her. And she goes, and so I had all this time to reflect and think about what I wanted and what I need at this point in my career. The thing that stuck in my mind was this vision, this dream of finally becoming AEW Women's World Champion. And it was this vision, despite all the fear and the uncertainty and the confusion, I carried this vision in my head, and I just imagined, I dreamed of what it would be like to finally become world champion. This isn't
started feeling like Ultimate Warrior type shits where I'm like glazing over at this point.
It's the whole Michael Scott. It's like, you ever just start talking and hope you find your way?
100%.
She said a lot. Of words without saying very much.
What we've talked about, like I always prefer no scripts, go out there and talk, but that's very much a sink or swim thing, and not everybody can do it.
But like looking back, because now Toni Storm is going to come out and fucking show her how it's done. But like, at what point, like, what did she didn't have to say shit? Hey, I'm back. I'm going to beat you.
Everybody knows what you are. You can't really talk. That's great. You're an incredible wrestler.
But like, also,
much like my favorite lady wrestler, who they have to talk every goddamn week since she came back. At least that was to build her as a heel. In the ring is where you show what you can do.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Willow Nightingale.
No,
because
she's my favorite wrestler.
Yes.
Like, just in general. No, I'm just comparing her to
I know who
another wrestler that not so hot on the mic, but is good once the bell rings.
Yeah. Also, we'll get to her. She's not going to get beat up that much this week. A little bit, but not as much as we usually do.
Because they kept it concise, and it was part of the story. Now, for a long time, there was no goddamn story. It was just her doing her thing to show that she was a heel.
She has bipolar promos. Not her. She's not bipolar, but like her promos. It's like it's like a double feature.
Moxley does that sometimes too.
Maybe because the last two. Anyway, we'll get to it. So at this point, I wrote, Toni Storm comes out. Thank God. Toni Storm goes, I thought I was going to hear from a challenger, but all I heard was a charity case. So here, you better take this. And she pulls money out of her bra and she throws it at Serena Deeb. And Serena says, Tony, I highly suggest that you start giving a shit and you start taking this seriously. I've quite literally fought for my life, and at Double or Nothing, I'm gonna fight for my life to finally become AEW Women's World Champion.
Oh no, keep going.
And then Toni Storm says, I just want to say, everything you've gone through, Serena, I could honestly tell you that I don't give a single solitary shit.
So much better. I was just looking up a name for the show.
I thought something went wrong with the recording. And then they get in each other's face. Toni Storm goes for a cheap shot, and Serena knocks her out cold with one punch.
Yeah.
And then
that's good. Like,
love
establish that threat.
Yes.
She is awesome. Like
the seizure. It didn't need to be there.
None of it.
None of it.
She should have done what we were praising Claudio for the last couple of weeks.
Less is more.
Be Claudio. Come out and be like, I'm the best female wrestler on the planet, and come this Sunday, I'm gonna beat your ass and take your title.
Yeah. That would have been perfect.
Tony wouldn't have had the opportunity then to do her thing,
But this is not a wrinkle we needed. It's like when she fought Deonna Purrazzo and we had to give a shit about a tattoo. Like it wasn't required.
And it's like also what my complaint about, or concern more, because they're doing pretty well so far. But my concern about like Bianca Belair tagging with Jade Cargill, when you put like somebody who's so incredibly good at a thing next to somebody who's pretty green at it or is not quite there, it can shine a light on the person that's not quite there.
Yeah.
You're putting Deeb out there, having her try to do like talking and charisma stuff with Toni Storm, Mariah May, and Mina Shirakawa, who are all like just shining stars of charisma at all times.
Right.
So like let Deeb just be the silent assassin.
I couldn't agree more. Because now, now I know that she gets seizures, all of a sudden Storm Zero and a hip attack seem fucking dangerous.
Well, that could be cool. They could use that Danielson-esque. I mean, it would be a ripoff of Danielson, but like sell it.
That seizure shit didn't get a good review though, man. Like even people in the crowd were like, "This is not fun." Like we thought he was legitimately like having brain damage.
Yeah, but he sold the like seizure head injury thing a bunch of times,
and no one enjoys it. Everyone's like, "This is not part of this show." Like, it's in
I don't mind being worked. I don't buy it ever anymore.
In 2024, it's really dicey to work.
I liked when Takeshita did the claw fingers too. I like a good sell.
Concussions in 2024 don't have a good flavor in the entertainment space.
It's a fake concussion.
We hope
it's for pretend.
We hope it is, right? Because I weekly can't remember who the hell these lady interviewers are. I tried real hard.
There was a new one this week.
Oh, I copied and pasted her all because
I made notes. I'm like, this one I don't know because she's brand new.
Yeah.
Lexi Nair's been around since like
that's the one.
She's been around for 4 years or something.
Can they just start putting their names?
But there was a new one who I don't know.
Yeah, she had a fun name too. Arkady Aura.
Yeah.
Arkady Aura. Anyway, not yet. Lexi Nair is back.
It's like she's from Dune.
The name?
The name sounds like a Dune character.
That is a post-apocalyptic. Sounds like she has a shaved head and a bandolier of bullets.
Yeah.
In the trainer's room, we have Lexi Nair and Orange Cassidy, and Lexi Nair's trying to get a medical update on Orange Cassidy. In walks Rocky Raccoon, and he asks, I'm not calling him Rocky Romero, he's Rocky Raccoon. I can't not. It's right there.
I'm a big fan of him lately.
Yeah. Well, this was stupid. He asks. He comes in and he asks if Orange Cassidy's okay, and then before Orange Cassidy can answer, he instantly pivots to his own bullshit before he can get an answer. Ugh. Because tonight I got the opportunity against 1/3 of the trios champions, and I just got off the phone with Tony Khan himself. It's the second time. Who's in Jacksonville. And he said, if I beat Jay tonight, you, me, and a partner of our choice get a shot at the trios titles. Ishii, Shibata, maybe mend the fences and get me, you, and Trent back together. And Orange Cassidy rips his glasses off. What? No, we'll figure it out. Good luck out there.
Yeah, good. Yeah, because Rocky Romero's being a dick here, being a selfish dick.
Yeah.
His buddy just got assaulted,
yeah.
and now he's trying to like ask for his own bullshit. It's all tying into all these people breaking up,
which is fine.
By the way, Tony Khan, it is okay to talk him on. He's not dead, and he still owns the company.
Right.
He's just a pussy who is a pushover, and he's not there on site. That's all.
Right. But when multiple guys are booking the show, it seems disjointed if you aren't paying attention to the details.
He's also a pushover with everybody. Everybody who calls him and asks for stuff gets it.
But
it's like part of
this is
the
now
character.
This is now the Bucks haven't made a match yet. They're going to, but like the third person that makes matches on the show, that seems disjointed. It doesn't seem like there's one guy running the show or there's a power.
It is disjointed, and there is not one guy. There's a fight for power right now.
But it doesn't seem, and that's my big gripe with this. It's like everyone seems to have equal power. And they're like,
really, if you like, literally, Tony Khan's the only one with power, but his personality deficiencies cause him not to wield the power that he has like he should.
But he's made 2 matches tonight.
But that's not like wielding the power like he should, which would be finding a way to get the Bucks off like TV or whatever.
He's never
because
done
he's a
that,
pussy.
though.
Exactly. It's
fitting
the character.
I'm not disputing that.
And for like this, because there is like a battle at the top of like who's running this goddamn thing. We're parking in Tony's.
It's not even a battle. That's the thing I have a problem with.
We need a hero.
But there's no villain. There's no like trumped up villains. The Elite
are absolutely villains.
They're not like villainy. Like
they just tried to kill their former best friend.
And
of like 15
and
years.
he put them in a match
from a hospital bed. That's pretty goddamn villainous.
But he hasn't lost any power from that attack.
Yeah, but there's still It's still a villainous thing to beat a guy with diverticulitis and then throw him off of his gurney.
If you black and white like that, but they're not being presented. They're not being presented as like I want to pay to see these guys lose villains. They're just not.
Oh, disagree.
Again, disagree. We're gonna
Okada like is such an incredible smarmy bad guy.
He barely talks. He's got to talk more. He's got to talk more. He's got to talk more. He's got to talk more.
Why?
Because he's said 2 sentences since he's been in the company.
He's spoken every episode that he's been on TV. And
okay, maybe he said
it's a second language.
Okay.
And he speaks every single week.
He's there for me. Like he gives fun matches. He's not like a thing.
Fun matches? Re-listen to our review of Dynasty.
I didn't
more
say,
than fun
I didn't
matches.
Say unfun.
It was character, like incredible character.
Unfun. Don't get offended. I didn't say unfun.
Fun is a little bit dismissive compared to.
I'm not being dismissive.
The way that we both were
hang
glowingly.
Hang on. I'm not saying anything disparaging about him. His matches are fun. His character is weak. It is.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. You are
his character in the ring. His character in the ring is perfect. His character outside of the ring is non-existent.
Oh, I disagree completely there.
We disagree all the time about this.
His facials and stuff are 100% on point. He just doesn't like talk.
But what is he doing to make me think he's a terrible person outside of the ring?
Like every mannerism, every face that he makes.
Give me an example. Because he makes a side eye at somebody. He's the worst guy in the company.
He does like douchey Johnny from Karate Kid face every time something bad is happening.
And that makes him an evil person?
It makes him like the douchebag heavy for...
No. They're just not threatening heels. I'm sorry.
Oh, God, super threatening.
They're not. They're just not. Sorry. They just need... There's not strong... people in peril. There's not strong villains. There's not strong foils.
They just tried to kill Kenny Omega.
But everybody knows that that's not the case.
What do you mean?
Everybody knows that's not the case. He was hurt already.
Yeah, and they knew that, and they tried to hurt him worse. They tried to like permanently or kill the guy. Everybody knew that he was in peril because he had like this terrible gut disease.
But everybody also who watches the show who is intelligent is very aware that Kenny Omega is not ready to wrestle yet. So it was kind of like they didn't really beat him up too bad because they know he can't wrestle.
It's cherry picking though. Like they did a thing that was like definitively super evil, particularly because it was to a guy that they were like brothers with for forever.
To a general audience, but to a smart audience like AEW, they already know what's going on here.
Well, so I mean, if you want to step back that far, we already know that everything is going on in all of wrestling. But that was definitely like an evil, super evil thing that evil guys did. Like within the story, evil guys did a super evil thing. They tried to do a more evil thing, but Kenny's Kenny, so he like survived it, and he was able to like muster up the strength from his hospital bed, which again, better selling than Tony Khan, to actually like still fight back despite him being on the verge of death. But like, there's no arguing. They did a super evil heel thing there.
We'll agree to disagree, as we usually do. We had Rocky Raccoon.
I am curious. Is like what is Rocky being a heel there? Because it was a dipshit kind of thing.
Like you gotta care about people if you want me to care about subtext. And this guy is the most beige color wallpaper ever. He
is kind of that.
He's like, and Trent's like, if you're gonna do this big super like under the radar thing with Trent, like he's never done anything character worky until this program.
I disagree on Trent. I think Trent is like we can like even go back to the start of our podcasts. Trent, it's been subtle, but I think Trent's really, really good with the character stuff because I saw the heel thing coming just in his like not behind the scenes, but like just to the side acting that he was doing for weeks. Like I think he's really pretty good at that stuff. Rocky Romero, yeah. He's like the Japanese ambassador guy.
I don't care about
They
this
called
guy.
him a fun name, though. I forget what it was. It was something in Japanese.
They said a couple things in different languages on both shows, and like I started typing, and I'm like, nope, I'm typing too much. I'm not going to Google Translate everything. Mariah May versus Harley Cameron was next. 9 minutes and 11 seconds.
Harley Cameron, I didn't know was a professional wrestler.
Same.
And I guess she had a couple matches on Dark. I found this out afterwards.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty good match. Like
Yeah.
Like Harley clearly is green still, but looking at a cage match, this is like only her 22nd match ever in her life.
Yeah.
And it was like better than the Mariah May Deonna Purrazzo match.
Yeah.
Like by a long margin. She really
it's her first match on Dynamite.
Showed out for herself.
Yeah.
Like she's a wrestler. She bumped all over the place. Her punches are terrible, but that like they'll come.
Right.
She's got a future. I looking at this on paper, I was like, oh no, why are they doing this to Mariah May? This is going to be garbage. But it was like good. It was a fun match. I like well paced and impactful, and like Harley was believable.
Right.
And I've never seen her do anything before physical.
No. She just seemed like she was there to hang out with Saraya. Who,
and do comedy stuff. Like she
why
did
the hell
funny.
why is Saraya not wrestling?
I thought that too, because she took like a bump here too, so she's healthy.
Does she just not feel like it, or
possibly she might just be on that. They do that rotation thing, which I am a fan of.
Yeah.
I want everybody to do that, but she seems like she's healthy enough to bump. So
Right.
maybe they just until they're going to do something with Harley or whatever, they'll then start a story with her. Everybody doesn't have to be in a program at all times.
No, I'm not saying why isn't like because she's always with Harley Cameron. Always. So
they've been doing like a comedy relief
do
thing.
they ever tag together or?
I don't think so. Well, I mean, it's the first time I've ever seen Harley in the ring. So
First Dynamite match, which would imply that she's at least wrestled on the Black Hole that is Rampage.
she has. She's had matches elsewhere. Just
Yeah.
I've never seen them.
Yeah. I just want to see Saraya. I want to see the things I recognize.
And plus, like in recent year or so, Saraya's gotten back to being really goddamn good in
Right.
the ring. Like
She cares.
I want to see her. Yeah, I want to see her like performing for sure. But yeah, I don't think there's any. But who knows? Again, the AEW does keep that shit behind, tight-lipped. If somebody does have like a whatever, maybe she's got a adductor strain or something like we just don't know about.
Right.
That happens quite a bit where somebody will show up and be like, oh yeah, it was because I had a elbow surgery 6 weeks ago.
Right.
And we just didn't know.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Mariah May wins with the Mayday, which is a fireman's carry into, I just call it fireman's carry into a JML driver because I have no idea
it's a
how
cool
else to
move.
describe. Yeah, it's dope. So
She does that headbutt too. That freaking that one I was talking about last week.
She graduated to
women
the
all
headbutt.
decided at the same time to
It was
do the most
loud,
awesome
too.
headbutt ever. Yeah.
Loud. She snaps it somehow.
I think it's mostly women that do the headbutt. That one, the big cracky one.
Yeah.
Because most of the ones that do it have super long hair.
Yeah.
So it's easier to disguise it. Because I can't think of any other reason why like more dudes don't do it.
Yeah.
There are like Takeshita does it. There's a few that do, but like it's a bunch of women. That
Drew
do that.
McIntyre does it.
Drew
too,
does it, but again,
yeah.
long hair. Like
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because I can't imagine they're coming anywhere close to each other when they do
no,
that.
'cause
You'll die.
talk about concussions.
Yeah.
Like, fuck the selling a seizure. That is actually potentially concussion. Like,
Especially on this show when it was a lot of actually it was on both shows where let's have a match and let me put a microphone in your hand and cut a promo immediately. Can't imagine taking an actual headbutt and being like, here, talk for 4 minutes. After the match, Saraya attacks Harley Cameron. Mina Shirakawa comes out and she does a dope spinning back fist.
Saraya attacks Mariah May. Right?
What did I say?
Harley Cameron.
Yeah.
They're girls.
Good catch. Take two. Again, taking two on an AEW show.
I was a little worried that and I love her, but Mina Shirakawa was going to do the Jeff Hardy because she does that big dance all the time. That before she came to save Mariah May, she would do the dance first. Thankfully, she didn't.
No.
She just ran down and helped
Ran
her.
right down. So Saraya attacks Mariah May. Mina Shirakawa comes out and does a spinning back fist on Harley Cameron, and Saraya bails. They look like, they being Mina Shirakawa and Mariah May look like they're about to kiss, and then they stop, and all the simps in the crowd boo really loud. And then they get some glasses of champagne and toast and have a nice time in the ring.
It doesn't read as like a gay thing to me. It reads as like we are at a bachelorette party.
Yeah.
That's their whole vibe. That's their
I don't get gay
gimmick,
vibes at all.
Is like I think it's like a bachelorette party vibe.
Yeah.
They're like, let's party because we're the best.
Absolutely. 'Cause we're the best.
I love both of them.
Yeah.
I think they're great together. I guess they tagged together for quite a bit in Stardom. I never saw them together, but like
they should put a tag division in this
clearly
company.
have. Yeah, they should. They have enough women.
It's a deep roster of people they're not doing dog shit with.
Yeah,
That
they're at least starting to give people, women, time on TV to do stuff that are not in like the world title picture. But that would be a good way to like flesh it out even more, because there's plenty of talented ladies to go around.
Absolutely. Backstage, and this is the new gal. Arcadi
she's
Aura.
I didn't recognize.
Arcadi Aura is with Pac. Pac looking like he just stepped out of a cave after 2 days in the dark.
I was upset looking at him. I'm like, Pac, are
you
okay, man?
He looked like after Enzo beat him for the Cruiserweight title. And just like that 2 mile sniper stare into the distance. But this is the first time we've seen him.
He's stumbling out of the rubble on 9/11.
Yeah, he looked terrible. Also, the dry hair was jarring.
Yeah.
You know, I've never seen him with dry hair before. But it's the first time we've seen him since Dynasty, when he lost to Okada. And Arcadi asks, with Ray Phoenix back, might we see Death Triangle return? And Pac's blankly staring forward, doesn't answer right away. And as he starts talking, you see what are they called? The Bang Bang Gang, the Gun Club. What are they?
They've converted completely to Bang Bang Gang.
The Bang Bang Gang.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Bang Bang Gang walks.
Good move. It's the best name. For them.
It makes sense. Walk from around the corner behind Pac, and Pac starts going. I'll be honest with you. At this moment in time, I'm not concerned with death. And then Bang Bang Gang interrupts. And then Jay White just shows everybody how the fuck it's done.
He's so wonderful.
He's so good. He goes. Pause. Bring that little microphone over here. I think I can help with the confusion in the situation here. Nobody is concerned with Death Triangle because Death Triangle is DEAD. And Jay White points to Austin Gunn, both of the guns, and Austin goes, death.
Yes, death.
DEAD, death. Back to Jay White. What you need to be concerned with is yourself. Like the little lady said, you're coming off a loss for the Continental Championship against one Rainmaker.
Just the little lady. He's such a scumbag.
And he's not... I never thought he was like very tall, and he maybe still isn't, but he looked like a mountain next to this little young
Jay
lady.
White?
Yeah.
I believe 6'1".
Here we go. Price is Right time. Ba-da-ba-da, ba-da-ba-da, ba-da-ba-da-ba. Well, you not only are playing a fabulous pricing game, but you get an extra $500 for guessing exactly correctly. 6'1" on the nose.
Yeah, Dave, I know.
Dude, I shouldn't have doubted you. What did he say?
He was holding up his bat with all the titles hanging off of it, and I love that so much.
He's got a gold bat with 3 different titles.
And he's like dangling them all off in Pac's face.
It's very cool. Oh, yeah. He said what you need to be concerned with is coming off a loss against one Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada. Now, boys, is there
pronounces Kazuchika so like
he says
Japanese like Kazuchika. Yeah, I mean, he was there for 5 years.
Says it
or
very
something.
differently. Now, boys, is there somebody who does know how to get the job done against Okada? That is me, Switchblade Jay White, the catalyst of pro wrestling. Maybe I should go after the Continental Championship. Maybe I should go after Okada and add some gold to our haul here for the Bang Bang Gang. And he's, again, like we just said, he held up the baseball bat. It looks fucking cool. I hate the trios titles, but that was just a dope visual.
Yeah, I want, whenever they lose them, I want it to become one belt. Yeah. But while this group is holding them, keep it the million belts because it looks great.
It looks
with them being douchey.
I didn't
guys
even realize
a million belts.
they added the pink ones.
Yeah,
right. So the 2 were fine, but that's even better. Jay White says, but tonight first, I got Rocky Raccoons, so you and your new friend hang out back here in these dark hallways, and you can watch and learn a thing or 2 or 3 or 4 about winning. Guns up, and Austin Gunn whispers, guns up, you bastard.
I love this group. I need more Jay White in my life.
Yeah.
I want him singles program with Pac. We going to get that? Because that's a dream match kind of situation.
These guys are like 5th or 6th rung down. I like where they're at placement-wise. Like, just let them sit here. Don't let them touch the world title picture. Don't let them touch the TNT title because they're gonna get so fucking lava hot down here.
Yeah.
That when it's time for them to come over,
then strike. Yeah. And all the people that are online, they bitch about Jay White, like, oh, look at him now. He was the champion. No, let him do his thing. People are going to see him being awesome. And that's how you get over and popular. Yeah. And then the crowd demands that you move up the card.
Dude, most American crowd wrestling fan, me.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh, I saw him at Forbidden Door. I don't know who the fuck this guy is. Yeah. Now I love him.
Yeah. Just let him do his thing.
Just based entirely on American television. They do a video package where Malachi Black is basically narrating Edge's value and eventual downfall. That was it. Cool production.
Doing his Mordecai.
Video package was up next for the Bucks, which this made me so happy.
It's great.
These two are so good when I get what they're doing.
Yeah.
So they do a thing. It's a pre-made like production where it's like a narrator is showing a clip show of the Bucks. And he's like,
it's propaganda.
Yeah, perfect. That's a perfect word for it. In 2019, visionary pioneers Matthew and Nicholas Jackson made it their mission to change the world of professional wrestling for the better, even in the face of those who sought only to defy this noble calling. Noble calling made me laugh. Your EVPs never faltered in their pursuit. Now, standing arm in arm with those devoted solely to this virtuous cause, the elite will change the world. So it's just basically a highlight reel of the Bucks, and then
and a well put together one too. Like it's a real seeming one,
and it shits on FTR and Kenny Omega.
Yeah, and basically also pretends that like Cody didn't have anything to do with it. Tony Khan didn't have anything to do with it.
Super disingenuous and the fact they use the words noble, virtuous
to start a wrestling company.
So then it cuts to the production truck with the Bucks watching, and Matt goes, "Wow, what a wonderful piece of promotional material!
What a wonderful piece of."
And Nicholas goes, "That guy deserves a raise." Matthew goes, "We need more of that."
I love your Nicholas. I think we need to do more Matthew and Nicholas.
We can start reading scripts for the show. Matthew goes, "We need more of that. You know what we need less of? Updates from Kenny Omega." Nicholas goes, "That fraud."
That's fraud.
Matthew, we'll address it we'll address that later tonight, right? Nicholas in the ring. Matthew, yeah, good. What do you want to? Or no, and then there's a production assistant off camera, and he's like, "Oh, what do you want?" And the PA hands him a run sheet of the show, and Matthew goes, it says we're about to hear from the world champion. In fact, there he is. And then he's like, "Go get him, Swerve." And then they look all fucking annoyed. Great.
Yeah, wonderful. The package is wonderful.
Great.
The Bucks themselves, they're as we were just alluding to, they're back and forth. They now understand their characters so well that their back and forths are just goddamn gold.
It's terrific. They're
the Bucks.
They're fun, man.
Awesome.
It's fun. When I know what the fuck they're doing, I seem to like them. I think I'm. I don't know if I get wrestling. I think maybe a little more. There's no. All right. Like, what does a super average wrestling fan who watches these guys think of them? You know what I mean? Like, if they're not like watching week over week and seeing what they're doing.
Well, I mean, I think the bigger question would be, what does somebody? Because we kind of discussed this last week too. I think the reason that is sometimes is difficult for you to get what they're doing in like AEW, but particularly like the Elite and the Bucks, is because they're telling stories in a different way than the only way that we all saw nonstop for 30 years.
Right.
So like. The bigger question would be, what would somebody who's never watched WWE or was not like conditioned to only see wrestling stories to be being told in this specific way, what do they think when they're watching? Like,
that makes sense.
It's for us even like, and it took me a while when I first started watching AEW because we're just so pre-conditioned as American wrestling fans to expect a story to be told exactly the way that we've been told that story for 30 years. Also, and now WWE is starting to change that up a little bit, which is exciting too.
I don't think there was this level of complexity when the company started with any of the storytelling.
No, there wasn't because it was too disjointed. It was
right. But like everything was very like you can call everything like you're like, it was very predictable like WWE.
Yeah.
And They had the Being the Elite. I think dissolving Being the Elite.
Huge plus.
Well, also, too, I think it all went to the show. I think it all went to
That's what I mean by huge plus. It's what you were asking for.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't want to do homework. I don't want to have to go watch somebody's sketch show on YouTube to know what the hell's going on.
So
now it's all on TV.
Yeah, and I think that it's such a heavy dose.
Yeah.
It's such a dense dose now relative to, again, I'm just kind of repeating what you said, relative to what I'm used to seeing, that it's just an adjustment.
Yeah.
So, somebody else who made a fucking adjustment, can't figure out what his character is. Swerve was out next. No Prince Nana, because he got beat down, right?
Yeah, and it also because of what was going to happen. It's not him out there.
Swerve walks to the ring clearly very angry. He gets in the ring and says, I'm in a real foul mood. I'm in a pissed off mood, quite frankly. I'm in a fighting mood, and here is why. And he throws it to the screen, and the video shows a recap of what happens last week when the patriarchy attacked Swerve. The video is literally 20 seconds long, which I loved, because that's all you need. Swerve says, it's funny, when you become AEW World Champion, everybody seems to want a piece of you. Figuratively and quite literally, because they ripped his dread out of his head.
And then the crowd wanted Nick Wayne to eat it.
With that being said, Christian, I can't blame you for doing what you did. I would have done, and hell, I have done some of those things too. You see someone at the top, you go for someone at the top. And make no mistake about it, Swerve is the Connor McDavid of all elite wrestling.
I like that.
Had to Google that, but apparently he is a very famous
potentially the greatest hockey players ever lived. Yeah, yes.
Crowd loved that one.
In Edmonton, yeah.
I don't know the rules of hockey, let alone who Connor McDavid is. So.
He's New Gretzky, essentially.
Okay, that was fun. I'm glad everyone had fun. Swerve continues. Now I'm not going to wait any longer. So Christian, I want you to get your scuffed up boots, your dingy jacket, and your itchy turtleneck, and the rest of the Addams family to bring your ass down here. We're going to have this conversation right now. I liked this.
Yeah,
I liked how he started.
But I like the whole thing. I all of it.
Well, but like angry Swerve.
Yeah.
Seems to have a better stream of consciousness.
Yes, 100%. When he's focused on something.
Yeah.
Even if he's a babyface, but angry, better.
Yeah, like, he needs
angry.
Purposeful.
Yeah.
Christian comes out. He says, well, look at this. Our world heavyweight champion standing right there in the middle of the ring in the self-proclaimed city of champions. I hate to break it to you, Edmonton. There won't be any championship this year because in a couple hours, I can't wait to watch the Canucks stomp the Edmonton Oilers.
Shut your mouths while I'm conducting my
The Vancouver Canucks went on to defeat the Edmonton Oilers that evening 5-4. So sorry, Edmonton. Christian says, now speaking of stomping out, that's exactly what happened to you in the ring last week, isn't it, Swerve? People are saying it was sick and disgusting when we ripped one of your dreads, ripped out one of your dreads. But Swerve, that was by design because I've decided every week I'm going to take some. And then the crowd starts chanting, let's go Oilers. And Christian gives the
classic,
shut your mouth while I'm conducting my business. Christian goes, I've decided I'm going to take something from you until I ultimately take what it is I want. Now you've been riding this huge wave of momentum and you've ridden it all the way to the World Heavyweight Championship. But the funny thing about waves is they always crash, and at Double or Nothing, it's going to crash at my feet. Swerve, you're not in my league. I'm the patriarch of AEW. I am the face of TBS. I'm the face of TNT, and I deserve to stand at the top of the mountain as the World Heavyweight Champion. And after Double or Nothing, when the dust is settled, Swerve, I said shut your mouth while I'm conducting my business. You could take comfort in knowing that when the walls are crashing in, when Swerve's house has been foreclosed on, that you could see gold whenever you want, even though you won't be the champion anymore. All you have to do is look in the mirror, and you see those stupid gold teeth. Unless I take those from you right now. And then they start circling the ring. Swerve says, I told your ass I wasn't coming alone. Did he tell him he wasn't coming alone?
I didn't go back and check like last week or whatever. Or it may have happened on Rampage or whatever.
It probably happened on...
I'm sure it was said.
Yes. It seemed to... That wasn't me calling them out first shit. I just couldn't place where he would have said that.
I can't remember it, but I didn't watch all of the programming this week, so... Yeah,
I told you I wasn't coming alone. Then the Mogul Embassy, which apparently still exists, gets his back. And he said, what's the matter, Christian? I want you to get in this ring so bad I can beat your ass down like Kendrick Lamar did to Drake this past weekend.
I love he always calls back to like current, and it's the biggest one ever, the current Kendrick Lamar Drake thing. But like hip hop feuds. There are hip hop diss battles that are going on. He makes like little subtle ones and then big ones, like the fake dad thing, Drake thing.
Yeah.
I love that. I love it's a running thing.
Good.
That's where
Keep him current.
And he's in the hip hop world. He makes music too. So.
Yeah. I mean, that's a unique thing nobody does.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only thing is the cheap heat, like the sports town shit. So like if you can draw heat with something else that's current, cool.
It's funny hearing Swerve talk about Connor McDavid, though. It doesn't strike me as a big hockey fan.
No. No, but that's always going to be there.
Yeah, sure.
I was actually thinking when he said that, and once I found out who Connor McDavid was, when back in WCW, when Chris Jericho was reading the Man of 1,000 and was Man of 1,004 holds.
Yeah.
And he comes
armbar.
They went to break, and he said right before they came back from break, whatever town they were in, he just started shitting all over their sports team. So when it came back to camera, they were booing like crazy.
That man's a genius.
Yeah.
As we saw later in the show.
Jesus Christ, he gets it. Anyway, I want to talk about him right now, and that won't be the last time someone from the West Coast took out a fake father from Toronto, which is the line you were just referencing.
The Drake.
Said, "Come on, get in here. Be the face of TBS, of TNT, the patriarch of AEW. You got here from playing the politic game." Nope. I had to work my ass off and get beat down and get back up to be AEW World Champion. Don't you forget that. So I dare you, come get it. Come take my gold teeth. Come take my gold championship. Oh, that's right. You won't. That'd put Christian in a very uncomfortable position, wouldn't it? And we all know when Christian's put in a very uncomfortable position, he's going to say, "I quit." Christian, by the way, lava hot fire from both of these guys.
Absolutely.
In this promo. Jesus Christ, they both stepped up.
I can't believe that in the year of our Lord 2024, I love Edge and Christian as much as I currently do.
I was thinking the same thing. It's weird that Edge and Christian are the best guys on their
favorite guys right now.
Like I like them now more than I ever have.
100%.
Like
it's
by
not even
lot.
close.
No.
There's never been an era with either one of these guys that's been close to this good.
No.
And like Swerve, I think you called it. I think that's right. When he has something like legit to focus on and be angry about, he steps up his game as far as his in the ring is always great, but like
it's never been in question.
And then and his charisma, while not talking, also is always great. But like the promos themselves, when he's got something to sink his teeth into, he steps up his game a bunch.
I might walk that back because even like we were talking about the Kyle Fletcher match, like they didn't have super great chemistry because also like that was a who gives a shit kind of thing, and it was a transitional.
That was one of the. It was just a terrible booking decision. For
me.
You
had highlighted that like they're just piggybacking all of Ospreay's opponents off.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to follow that. Christian at this point does a subtle head nod upward, and Brian Cage attacks Swerve from behind, and then the other two guys. What are they? The Gates of Agony or something?
It's Bishop Khan and
Tony Khan, Nick Khan, Chad Khan.
I forget. It'll come to me.
Yeah. The refs try to intervene, but whoever the other guys are clear the ring, and then Cage presses Swerve over the top rope to the outside. They clear the announce table off. They get the ring steps, and then whoever the other two guys are do a double Razor's Edge on Swerve through the announce table. They just legitimized the shit out of three guys that had no value before today.
And I also I don't like when you turn somebody babyface, which like they continue to do with Swerve.
Yeah.
And then like his heel faction, they don't really address it.
Yeah.
They just kind of let it go into nothingness.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they did this like definitive ass thing.
That was a major gripe that other shows that do not cover wrestling had about the Swerve turn. They're like, why are they not telling us that he was a bad guy? He was just hanging out with an infant not too long ago. He was in a heel faction.
Yeah, I don't mind
it. Drives Disco Inferno fucking
Disco
crazy.
Inferno never told a good story in his whole goddamn career.
Yeah. Here, you start talking and I'll do a Disco Inferno impression.
So what do you
think? No, just saying. Well, anyway, just saying.
It's amazing that the guy is so coked up is also so tired and lazy all the time.
He bulldozes through everything
with worse takes than everybody else that he's on the show with. I like turns happen in wrestling, babyface, and sometimes you have to forget that like the babyface did some bad shit. Rock did some bad shit before he turned face. But I do agree that like I don't like it when they just kind of ignore a thing.
Right.
I expect AEW to like tie up loose ends.
Yeah.
And that's what they did.
Yeah. And even though they did forget it, this week they remembered. So cool. Let it go for...
Or it didn't make sense to do it because of the way the show was laid out. I'm trying to think of the other guy. Find the other guy's name. Bishop Kid.
What are they called? The Mogul Embassy?
Yeah.
Mogul Embassy. It is Brian Cage, Bishop Khan, and Toa Leona. And apparently Jonathan Gresham was in there as well.
Leona, who probably eventually is going to be in the bloodline.
Yeah.
Because now every Samoan on Earth is in the bloodline. Except for Joe.
They are... it's just like becoming like race wars.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Like on every show, it's just, hey, what do you look like we'd hang out after the show?
Talk
Let's be in a faction together.
It's not WWE versus AEW. It's like literal
tribes. Tribalism. And that's not us saying anything like outrageous. Like watch the show. It's guys of all ethnic background or all the same ethnic background. They're all factioning up together. So yeah, dope segment. They beat the shit out of Swerve. They also gave Swerve something to do.
Yeah.
For 2 more weeks, they gave him a bigger mountain to climb as a face. Is he winning at Double or Nothing? Clean.
Swerve's winning. I think he's good. But what this did was put the doubt in my mind.
It's now 6
there's
on
a
1.
chance, and AEW usually is, unless Swerve gets some friends real fast here. If you are losing the numbers game, you lose. They don't do a lot of superhero. I can beat the odds and beat all these different. Yeah. If you don't have boys and the guy you're fighting does, you usually lose. So it makes me think oh shit, it's a chance he's gonna lose.
Is Hangman coming back?
I thought he was coming back at the end of the show, but yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think that's where it's gonna go.
They're going to do a frenemy thing.
And remember, I was like, I can't wait for eventually down the line when they begrudgingly team up and then become best friends.
Yeah.
And
God damn it, that's going to be so good. So excited.
Yeah.
I'm just pausing to think about everything they could do with him being back.
Again,
so much on the table.
Doing the obvious thing sometimes is just the best thing. We were weeks ago, Christian's got to be the guy.
Yeah.
Is the obvious thing, and it was the right thing because that's the obvious guy. He's the most heelish guy to make Swerve more of a babyface because that's what they needed to do because he was still kind of tweener.
Right.
So now most heelish guys doing super heel shit got the babyface, now newly babyface, heel faction to turn on him. Yeah. So even further making Swerve a babyface and also giving him something to fight underneath from because he's the odds are stacked against him. Yeah. And if Hangman does eventually make the save on him. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so fine with all of this. After the match, they cut to the Young Bucks backstage applauding. Matt goes, great segment. Good piece of freaking business, dude. Nicholas goes, 4.5 stars. What a performance. Then the patriarchy walks in. Christian Cage goes, great idea, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure conducting business with you. Which pissed off Tony Schiavone after the segment. But Matt Jackson goes, looking forward to more. Christian says, yeah, me too. It's the start of a very fruitful working relationship. Matthew says, thank you again, everybody. Great stuff. Great show. Nicholas says, Swerve's going to feel that one in the morning, eh? Matthew says,
such douchebag.
Hey, wouldn't that be considered Matthew leans in closely to Nicholas and goes, hey, that wouldn't be considered a bitch move. What happened to him, no? Which at first
call back to Swerve.
But at first and this is just, this is me seeing things through the opposite of rose-colored glasses with these guys. I'm like, is that a fucking Punk thing? Is that something he said on the show? And then I look back and it was a Swerve thing. So.
Everything that happens here,
it's all
every
in-house.
One of those, every guy by the end of the show that is against the Bucks, the seeds were planted weeks and a couple of times, a month and a half or 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And they're being called back. Right. And Swerve's promo that called it a bitch move, what they did a few weeks ago, that's being called back.
Right. Yeah. You see what I'm saying, though? Yeah. You see what I'm saying about that Punk shit where it just kind of seeps in sometimes? Where you're like...
you know what? I'm enjoying Punk so much now that I'm past,
No, it's not that I'm past or not, but they'll they'll still pepper in bullshit from that. So, and I'm like,
you know what they'll do? They'll do like a cheeky thing where it's not what they're talking about, but they know full well that the people that are looking for it are going to hear it as a Punk thing.
I tell you what, now that I think of it, what they are doing here is way more preferable than what Punk's doing, where he keeps talking about like, oh, I'm a choke artist, a different kind of choke artist.
Yeah.
It's like,
I
dude,
can do without that.
Fucking let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go. Anyway, so Nicholas goes, no, referencing the bitch move. And Matthew goes, right. And then he points to someone off camera and tells them to tuck their shirt in. They're great characters.
This is so awesome.
It's so much. It's fun now that like
it is so fun.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I listen. I sound like I have personality disorder week to week or hour to hour when I'm talking about the Young Bucks.
Yeah, we can identify what it is. It's a specific thing. It's that like certain story beats are they're a little too subtle for your taste. And that's the stuff that pisses you off.
Right.
But most of it isn't, and you enjoy that. Yeah. So like broadly, you're really enjoying this character run, but there are some things that like you would prefer that they did in a slightly different way. That's reasonable.
I think it is too. Or I'm not watching the show to watch the show. I'm studying these fucking shows. So maybe that's I'm missing the flow of everything.
Like I've always studied the show, but in a different kind of setting.
Yeah,
studied the show as a fan. So like,
as I mentioned before, they cut back to ringside. And Excalibur, Tony Schiavone, and Don Callis are standing next to a deceased table because Swerve was just thrown through it, and Tony Khan's just pissed off. He said, kind of talking about Christian said that was a good idea. He hates that Christian is scheming with the Bucks, right? So the Bucks are clearly in on all the bullshit with Swerve.
I love that Tony Schiavone is like, I think you mentioned it last week, is like doing his like PTSD NWO. Like I fucking saw this before. Yeah. And it's really upsetting because I know where it goes kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Without saying it on the nose.
Yeah. He knows his role really well too. Backstage we had Arkady Aura. I'm going to slow to a halt to say that name with Willow Nightingale. They talk about how Willow defended her title on Rampage in a Manitoba Massacre match versus Sky Blue. Did you see that Sky Blue was tangled in barbed wire for a couple minutes after that match?
Yeah.
They took her.
Did you see on Ring of Honor? Aubrey Edwards and Sky Blue's opponent essentially had to attack douchebag in the front row because he was so like blatantly and according to everybody that was there, like worse than anything they've ever seen. Screaming like obscenity, sexual stuff at Sky Blue to the point where she was like almost in tears and had to like go to the back. And then like Aubrey Edwards like kind of smacked him around and it got security to drag the prick out of there. But that happened. That happened this week.
That's good. He should drink a full bottle of Dawn dish soap.
I'm thinking those two big security fellas probably had a word or two with him backstage after he was off camera.
Don't worry, everyone. He'll get the help he needs. In the name. All right. Willow says physically she's not feeling too great, but emotionally, spiritually, you can never beat a smile off my face. You ready for Double or Nothing? She says she's ready for anything. On Dynamite, Rampage, Collision, an International Challenge, Double or Nothing is just another stop in being a champion. The question is Mercedes Moné ready? She feels bad what happened to Mercedes, but since then has been on the run of her life. She's become New Japan Strong Women's Champion. She won the Owen Cup, and now she's TBS Champion in a pro wrestling match. She is going to be the winner. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Willow's good at everything.
Good promo. That's it.
This is a bunch of like long monologue promos that people knocked out of the park on this show. Those are hard to do.
A lot of talking. And like even in a wrestling heavy show, they still had a lot of good wrestling on the show.
Yeah, they did. It's funny though that Raw was the more wrestling heavy and Dynamite was the more promo angle heavy show this week.
Cool.
It's fun having it. Things change every once in a while.
Change things up once in a while, absolutely. Next up, we had Jay White against Rocky Raccoon. It went 8 minutes 7 seconds. Jay White won with a Blade Runner.
Yeah,
I'm sure there was a match there.
It was good. It was a good match. 3.5 star match. Like.
That's very good.
Well, that's kind of Jay White's floor to me. Jay White is just great. Rocky Romero's fine. Jay White is to me at least, he's in like maybe just under that very top, like Will Ospreay, Bryan Danielson category, but he's like right there. So it's real tough for him to have a match that I'm not like, oh, it was great. It was really great. Everything he does in the ring is like, is part of the story that he's telling. And that story is, I'm a fucking total slime ball. Yeah. And I'm going to like take every opportunity to, use your strengths against you or sneak up on you when you least expect it. He's just the best at that.
Yeah.
And 8 minutes was the right amount of time for this match. So
I just, again, like, I didn't know shit about this guy. Stus had to tell me about him.
Yeah.
Like, he had to educate me about why I should care about this guy. I'm like, oh, you tell. How come the TV show can't tell me who the fuck this guy is?
Eventually they did.
Like, a little bit. I still
let the guy be the guy.
I still don't care about him. But, like, they came out with, like, a tag team name, like an established thing already. I'm like, I don't know who you are, buddy. I don't care.
Wait, you're talking about Jay White?
No.
Rocky Romero. No, they haven't done shit with Rocky Romero.
You know what I mean?
You need to be like a super insider person.
Yes, Jay White was built perfectly.
Yeah. They like just Jay White. You just let him do his thing, and
like you put him on
that story
screen,
gets told.
Let him cook. Like in what world did you think he was going to end up with Billy Gunn's kids? Like
not at all, and they're such a perfect pairing,
right? Because when you let things organically work out, and personalities, which is why the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn are such a natural fit.
Well, at least the Acclaimed's last match was a tag one for the first time in a billion years.
Time. Did not care for this next thing for a reason you might not suspect. They did a Samoa Joe hype video where they just showed Samoa Joe in the gym working out, wearing normal clothes. This is why I didn't like it.
For what we talked about last week, I just have him off TV for a while.
Yes,
but as a hype package, it was well put together.
I don't want it to be an option on this earth that by luck I could go into a gym and see Samoa Joe lifting weights. I don't like that he wears normal clothes. I think he lives in those fight shorts and has a towel, and that's all. I don't like that they humanize him at all.
I'll allow it.
It would be like
he's still as scary as hell in real clothes.
I don't. No. He owns 3 pairs of shorts. Half of them are black.
They've been let out 4 times over the course of his career.
That's it. Even when he's in the Main Event Mafia in TNA like 20 years ago, I'm like, he owns a suit.
Actually, when he did that promo like last year in the suit, smoking the cigar with the whiskey, he was badass. He looked like a badass there when he was like the king of television.
You're right.
I like that.
You have once again put me in my place. I agree with you again.
I don't know that I would have him on TV again though. Like, obviously they're doing this is going somewhere because now it's 2 weeks in a row. Yeah. And I prefer, like I said, having the champ when they lose the belt just off TV for a while.
Yeah.
And clearly they have some kind of thing they want to do with Joe. But like for whatever hype package, again, nobody needs a hype package. It's Samoa Joe, but it was fine. It was like well put together.
It's in this universe. I can go to my gym tomorrow and see Samoa Joe working out. My brain is not like that.
You should have to like go to like a island you need to swim to, like volcanic island.
And then there's Samoa Joe.
And Samoa Joe, like
in a surplus of towels,
lifting boulders, not punching a tree trunk that he stuck into the ground and it's all covered in blood.
And and the tree has one like fist indentation because he's so precise with where he punches
hitting that
same spot for hundreds and hundreds of times per minute.
There's a bunch of dead seagulls around that he's like caught, snapped their necks.
Coquina clutching the shit out of the entire island. Yeah, he shouldn't own any Under Armour. Up next, the Learning Tree. Chris Jericho and Big Bill.
So, I think they're doing kind of what I was asking for. Big Bill's going to be the whole class of the Learning Tree. And he's really just there to beat the shit out of whoever Jericho wants.
I didn't hate this at all. They fought 2 local jobbers, Mo Jabari and Harlan
Big Bill murdered these poor young gentlemen.
But the story that they told here was fucking dope.
Yeah.
The second Jericho got out wrestled, he tagged in Big Bill.
Yeah.
And then Big Bill squashes the holy shit.
Crushes him like it.
And then he tags Jericho in for the Judas
Kudos
effect.
to these young gentlemen for bumping their asses off, too, because they really looked like they were badly injured.
One of them was super popular locally, too, because his name got announced, and then when he got tagged in,
people
went fucking nuts.
People went.
which is cool. And they looked happy and good for them. They got the shit kicked out of them. They might as well get some cheers.
And sometimes that for an AEW that does carry over into you get to be, signed down the line. Yeah. So
I'm good with it. Anything else about the match? That's pretty much the match, right?
Bill beat the shit out of both guys, tagged in Jericho, who did a just absolutely unnecessary Judas effect for the pin. Not a drop of sweat on his body, not a hair out of place. And then he gets on the microphone and he's wearing his little tiny shorts again.
The shorts make it better.
Perfect. His promo's perfect.
Yeah.
He just keeps thanking everybody despite everyone like booing the shit out of him.
Yeah.
He's not even doing it in a way that seems like he realizes. It seems like he really doesn't realize that people hate him, and he's actually going like, thanks. This is our championship together.
It's an Oscar acceptance speech.
Yeah, yes.
It's really weird. He getting in, and the next person I want to thank.
Yeah.
He goes, thank you guys. Thank you. I just want to say it's always a pleasure to come back to Calgary. Edmonton.
Sorry, we travel so much.
I deserve that. It was a mistake. They boo him like crazy. I deserve that. I deserve it. That was a mistake. I apologize. When you've been traveling around the world as long as I have, making memories for people that last a lifetime, sometimes you make a mistake, but we learn from mistakes. That's what the learning tree does. Thank you. I know people are saying, Jericho's back on Dynamite again. Yeah, of course. I wish I could be on Dynamite for 2 hours straight.
My favorite line, that shit eating grit. Oh, yeah, of course. If it was up to me, I'd be on 2 hours straight. I can't believe how much I love him. Again.
He's like, I would if I could. And then
I'm such a mark.
Huge grin. But I'm here now as the For the World champion, which means this championship is for all of you. I thank you for that. And while I'm thanking people, I want to thank Big Bill, the Redwood. What a great job he did tonight. Very good. He's been pulled into the Jericho vortex. He's already taken pointers from the learning tree on how to win.
His pointers. What happened was he just did the same shit he's been doing for 2 years and then murdered 2 guys.
You did a great job tonight, man. He's like, I also want to thank Shibata. What a great match we had last week. I got the highest rating on Cage Match, if you can believe that.
I love that, too.
We chopped each other 79 times. I thought it was maybe in total. I didn't count the whole match, just that exchange. I thought it was 61.
Commercial. Remember? There was
counted through the commercials.
Oh, you did? That's right.
So unless they did more
he might be lying too.
It really makes me want to go back and count them. But he said we chopped each other 79 times. He headbutted me with the garbage can. I threw a hockey puck in his face. Que sera, right? I also want to thank Hook. We still haven't seen him since he essentially hit himself in the face with a baseball bat at Dynasty.
I love that, too. Hit himself in the face with a baseball bat.
But, Hook, you take as much time as you want. I know you're still thinking about the lessons that the learning tree taught you. And Tony Schiavone gets in the ring, and he informs Chris Jericho that Hook is back next week on Dynamite. And Jericho goes, well, all right, then. I guess we look forward to the return of Hook. Hook, we're going to celebrate on Dynamite together. We're all going to celebrate together, right? Thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody. Thanks so much. This is all for you. Even you, too, Tony. Ha, ha, ha. As he's waving like an asshole.
If this thing just continues to be me getting to watch Big Bill fucking kill it in the ring and then Jericho cut promos like this afterwards, do it for a year. I don't care. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
And then, looking long term, you now have established major threat Big Bill that can turn on Chris Jericho
and then be like in the world title picture or whatever.
He could be actual Wardlow.
Yeah.
Which he wasn't even on the show.
Because Big Bill, like when he's given an opportunity, he actually takes advantage of it.
Yeah,
that Boss Man Slam is so dope.
Who knew he was going to be this good?
Either thing, he was fine, and back in the old days,
he didn't have to be good.
Even talking, he just did the SAWFT parts. It was Enzo that did all the talking.
Right.
Now he's a great talker too. He's incredible, and his in-ring stuff is he's the best big man. For me, it's between him and Brody King, but he's more of a big man even than Brody King because he's a real legit 7-footer.
Yeah,
he might be the best. I don't even think about it. He might be the best 7-foot tall wrestler I've ever seen, in ring.
I'd have who else?
He's better than the Undertaker.
Everybody's better than the Undertaker.
Better than Kevin Nash. Talking about agility wise and moveset and wrestling in the ring.
Yeah.
Nash had tons of charisma. Obviously, big star.
I agree with you there.
But moving, the way he moves, he's fast. He's impactful. He doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't botch anything. And he's 7 feet goddamn tall.
Paul White, no. Test?
Yeah, but Test was like 6'7".
Test is still big.
It's
you're
big,
right.
but it's not like that's why I like Brody King. I'm
So
not
he
like
was just
Brody King's like 6'7", 6'8".
Test was just presented like a big man.
Yeah. I mean, he was big. 6'7" is big.
Yeah, but
like true or near 7, like Undertaker's really 6'10" or whatever.
Right.
But I could count that like an NBA center sized
Yeah.
guy. I think he's the best. I think he's the best I've ever seen. Which, like you said, who could have seen that coming when he was SAWFT?
Especially in that company, which reveres
Big,
guys
yeah.
like the airport Test.
It's pretty magical what getting clean can do for you.
No shit, right? Yeah, he should be a touring sponsor
Yeah.
of alcohol. Not alcohol. Well, he wasn't alcohol, was he?
It was a couple of things, but alcohol was the primary one I think that he talked about.
We'll go on the Alcohol Anonymous tour. Did they have that? Can you go city to city?
There's people that give talks for sure.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. I'll research it. We'll put it on the Patreon when I find out. We don't have a Patreon.
we do have a website though.
We do have a website.
BlueThunderPod.com.
BlueThunderPod.com. New site is under construction, I promise. Next up, we had the TNT Championship, which was Adam Copeland versus Brody King. This went 18 minutes, 18 seconds. Holy shit.
Beat the fucking Christ out of each other.
Once I saw that Edge was coming out in white pants, I'm like, this
Edge's
is going
gear-
to be a blood.
Edge's gear is the best. He's the best gear guy in wrestling.
Yeah.
He just is.
Yeah.
It's like new every week. He gets, like, I know he's a millionaire from all his years or whatever, but like
he's
the
spending his
investment that he puts into his appearance, like it's amazing.
Yeah.
The white gear is always a giveaway. And Brody King's the best bleeder in wrestling.
Yeah.
He does that like rah face with the blood. And it's like, oh my God, you're a demon from hell.
Yeah.
I knew this was going to be a great match because of the time that these two had together in the ring in the multi-man last week was like the by far best part of that was them, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, was them, those two like going at it. And like, I figured, extrapolate that out. And that's what we'll get here. And it was like that times 10.
Yeah.
It was just a real brutal, hard hitting, big giant guys doing a lot of things very believably.
Super fun hardcore match.
Yeah. Yes.
Super, like, God damn it. And like,
I forgot to say that this was also the main event of the evening.
And there were only a handful of things I wrote down because I stopped typing. I'm like, this is just fun.
It's just a sit and watch match. Like I don't even want to review it either. Just watch it. Watch this match.
Brody King
it's
of
an
the,
awesome.
I'm not trying to cut you off. Sorry. I had a frog in my throat. Brody King have the best cannonball in wrestling?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. He lands differently.
He does.
Like, he lands on you.
It's with so much more force than anybody else. He also does that crossbody thing against which I don't think I've ever seen anybody do that before.
What is it?
Where he pushed you up against the barricade outside the ring and then just runs and hits you with a crossbody, but it smushes you against the barricade. He's like 300 pounds.
Big boy.
That cannonball is like,
the best
holy
one.
Christ.
Like, that should be a finisher. It's that good.
But he also does a gonzo bomb, so he's awesome. How about a like somewhere down the line, Big Bill Brody King, Cage or something?
Yes, please. Yes, please. And that's fine. Let all the guys working right now stay at the top. And like I said, keep everybody else 6 rungs down and let them all cook in a couple years.
Brody's almost in the Darby Allin. Chris Statlander
He's gotta get some
doesn't
wins,
have bad. I just mean as a performer, doesn't have bad matches. Like if that guy is in a match, I know that match is at least going to be good. And Darby and Statlander are the only other two that besides Osprey Omega or whatever.
Sure.
But at the very top of the card guys. But like the most consistently reliable, their matches are just good and entertaining every time. Willow, Statlander, Brody King. And Darby is the best of all of them when he can get out of his own way and stop getting hit by buses and shit.
Did you see who he saved from getting hit by a bus?
No.
The guy that like he's like a very famous artist. Like he made the Black Flag logo.
Oh, that's cool.
Like
Darby hangs out with a cool group of people.
Like once I read who it was, I'm like, oh, thank you.
I want to hang out with Darby.
Thank you for eating that bus for saving this national treasure.
And then he took a picture with Tim Robinson.
55 p. Or
I didn't get much reaction from my text I sent to you guys when somebody had photoshopped. Jay White's head onto a bus driver right after, and then I put the comment under it, the Bang Bang Bus.
Did I see that?
I put it on our group text thread.
It's possible I did not see it. It's been a busy week.
I mean, that was a couple weeks ago.
It's been a few busy weeks.
Yeah.
He did the Adam Copeland did the crossface spot where he put the part of the support bar of the chair. He rips it off the chair and he puts it in Brody King's mouth. He did that at WrestleMania.
I liked that, like Shivani, as he was doing it, he's got the chair, and Shivani's like, I don't think he's interested in the chair. I think it's that crossbar.
He did the WrestleMania 22 Mick Foley spear through the table spot minus the fire.
Yeah, but it looked just as cool because Brody King is such a mountain of a man.
Absolutely. And then, spear for the win. So
Brody King is, everybody says, he's like the sweetest human being. And he MCs drag shows for free because he thinks it's fun.
Yeah.
I love how the character he is versus everything I hear about what the guy is in real life.
Yeah.
It's just, that makes me just love him more.
He is a very
curious dude.
March to the beat of your own drummer kind of guy.
Yeah.
Which is super appealing.
That's my bag, baby.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm wearing a pink Hello Kitty cut-off sleeve shirt right now, and not uncommon for me to wear nonsense like this. I like to think of myself as a march to the beat of my own drummer person, so I very much appreciate it when I see somebody.
I can attest to that, absolutely. So after the match, after Brody King eats a spear and takes the L, he's not too happy about it. He attacks Adam Copeland after and outruns Kyle O'Reilly to make a save. He starts beating up Brody King. Edge comes to, and they tag team Brody King out of the ring.
Little note, Kyle O'Reilly, he's so awesome that when he does the run-in save, usually people just kind of, when they're doing a run and save, they just kind of half-ass it. And he came in and was throwing full-ass strikes, MMA looking strikes that landed with impact, like it was an actual match.
Absolutely.
But I was like, oh shit, you usually don't see that in a run-in. It looks great, which you kind of have to do when Kyle O'Reilly's a very average-sized human being, and Brody King's very much not that. So yeah, like that a lot.
Yeah, you're not
wrong. Little touch.
And we're going to see more of him later in the show. But before that, we are back to backstage segment with Arkady Ora. It's going to take me a couple of weeks to
I don't even want to say it because it's a tough name to say.
Arkady Ora. And Mercedes Moné. My initial note at the top of the show, I didn't say it, but because I deleted it after I saw her. But I'm like, oh, no Ospreay, no Mercedes, no Roderick Strong. But then we got Mercedes. So just no Kingdom, no that specific feud, no Kingdom Ospreay thing, right? Arkady Ora asks Mercedes Moné's opinion, or kind of her thoughts on the Double or Nothing match, and Mercedes goes, "We are only 18 days away from my in-ring debut for AEW, and I have to say that I am so excited because I am so close to making my return to the sport that I love so very, very much. You see, here in AEW is where the best wrestle. And I thrive in that spotlight, and I thrive under pressure, and I'm only getting started. You see, tomorrow I'll be sitting courtside at the Celtics playoff," which is a weird way to say that. "And then on Saturday I'll be throwing out the
game. You should Celtics playoff game.
Celtic playoff. Okay. And then on Saturday I'll be throwing out the first pitch for the Boston Red Sox. And when I'm not promoting AEW, I'm in that ring and gym every single day. So to answer your question, yes, I am ready for Willow at Double or Nothing. But as far as Willow goes, Willow took something from me that I will never get back. Time. I lost a year in my career, and all I can think about were these haunting questions of why. Why did this happen to me? Someone very subtly in the crowd, cry me a river."
She's great.
The timing was awesome. And this is pre-tape, so she's not reacting to the crowd or anything. And she goes on to say, "Will I ever return to the ring? And if I do, will I be as good as I used to be? Will I?" The crowd starts chanting, "Shut the fuck up." Back to Mercedes. "You're damn right I will be, because I'm on a whole new level. I'm back with a vengeance because I am that bitch. Willow had the run of her career because of me, but I'm going to show Willow why there's an asterisk next to over your victory, because at Double or Nothing, I'm going to take more than just your title. I'm going to wipe that stupid smile off your face, so enjoy your time as champion, Willow, because at Double or Nothing, money changes everything." This is her best promo.
First good promo in AEW. First good promo in AEW.
This was good.
Yeah.
It was actually...
I like the build of it. I like that the build... I like that the build of this individual promo mirrored her... what she's done in the company so far, where it started off with the I just, happy to be here in the company that wrestles, and it just slowly ramps up to like delusional villain bullshit, and and her delivery was good. Pre-tape, so maybe she had a couple of opportunities to, but whatever, if that's what you got to do it. This is the best promo she's done in the company, and it actually got me more excited for the match, which is the point, right?
Yeah. It also does add another nice little wrinkle. I'm not sure what to think about it, where Willow's reveling in, you were out, so I had the best run of my life since you've been out. And Mercedes is like, you only had it because I was out. So that but that's their face heel roles in that nugget of they're backwards.
It's opposing forces, and also it's Willow has been kind of on her side, the reason she's saying all this positivity stuff out loud about herself and this run that she's had is because, but right before that, she admitted that she had very much questioned herself, and was I only doing this because I knocked out my opponent, and now she's kind of trying to G herself up, to get her, and it causes this opposing, this friction that is good because it's a story, and it's not just Mercedes dancing.
No, which, dude, some of the comments on these social media posts of her. Yeah. Good Lord, these people vote. Backstage, we had Lexi Nair. I know her name.
You didn't last week.
No, I wrote it down this time. Lexi Nair, Adam Copeland, and Kyle O'Reilly. Lexi says, congrats on retaining. How does it feel to have an ally in the battle against the House of Black? And basically, Adam Copeland's annoyed that Kyle O'Reilly saved him just to get...
I didn't think he was annoyed. I think he was no, I get it.
But he did that last week, too. Stop looking at my title. He's got these... I got misted in the face, irked tendencies.
Oh, you're saying there's corruption. Making him see
he's not. He wasn't genuinely upset.
Because Kyle O'Reilly wasn't he wasn't being.
He did nothing
disingenuous about it. He's I saved you, but I do. I want. We're in a wrestling company. I want the title. So
and then Edge, because he's starting to turn into Venom. Apparently, just you just did that to get a title shot, and then he's like, of course, I'll see you on Collision.
Just give me Edge versus Malachi in a singles before he completely joins. Or, I guess, like I said last week, he could join and then do his heroic break apart, Bryan Danielson or Daniel Bryan and the Wyatt family, leave, and then you do your feud. But I just really want to see Malachi on a singles
100%
program.
Yeah. He's going to take control.
Malachi versus Kyle O'Reilly would be an incredible singles program.
Oh, you mean two guys who can actually fight?
Very similar styles and stuff like that.
Would be fun.
Yeah.
That'd be a ton of fun. Speaking of a ton of fun, the Young Bucks and Kazuchika Okada walk out. Nicholas Jackson says, they're walking out of one of the tunnels, and Nicholas goes, we know the main event just happened, but guess what? This show doesn't end until we say it's over. Matthew, I just buzzed the network and I asked for a little bit of an overrun because we have an important message.
And by the way, I think this is it. I enjoy this too. I think it's the biggest overrun they've ever done.
I watched it on replay. How far did we go?
Almost
10 minutes.
It was close to 10, 8 or 9 minutes. I think. Usually it's a couple.
And was it all this segment?
I don't know. I have to double check, but I know the overrun was insane.
Yeah. Well, good because they acknowledge it. Because
they say
So Nicholas, then the first thing on the agenda here tonight is this terrible country of Canada. Mr. Rain in this terrible country of Canada, Mr. Rainmaker Okada has a note for Kenny Omega. And then Okada goes, hey, Kenny, the Best Bout Machine says get well soon.
I like that. I love that he calls himself the Best Bout Machine now. Their history is just amazing. Yeah. I love that Nicholas, when he's saying the shit that he says, that there's so much hate in him that it looks like he needs to spit when he's talking. Canada. It's great. Great.
Mike, back to Matthew. And speaking of unwell people, Tony Khan, I know you're watching at home in Jacksonville. I just want to say you're the best boss I've ever worked for. And I hope you're feeling better too. I just wish you would have gotten out of your own way and realized that we were never here to try and hurt AEW. We were here to make AEW a better place. So what did you do? You got in our way, and we had no choice but to give Tony Khan a Tony Khan driver. And Kenny Omega, last week, you decided to end a 15-year-long friendship. So what did we have to do to you, Ken? Well, we had to give him an EVP trigger to an EVP. And Nicholas goes, and Kenny, the only reason why FTR saved your ass is not because they like you. No, it's because they hate us. FTR, guess what? Anarchy in the Arena. That's what you want at Double or Nothing? Then Anarchy in the Arena, you're going to get. Good luck finding 2 other people with big enough balls to face the Elite. We run this damn show. FTR comes out, and then...
by the way, highlight of the show, Cash Wheeler wearing a Chris Farley Lottie frickin' dot t-shirt. Cash Wheeler's t-shirt game is on point.
It's for us.
Yeah,
it's for everybody that's over 40 years old.
Yeah. Like within a 5-year age group.
It's perfect. FTR comes out, and then Eddie Kingston comes out. He's announced as one of the partners.
And he's pacing around like a goddamn caged animal.
He looked like a kid that heard Eminem a week ago for the first time in 1999. Just how he was dressed.
It's kind of always how he his aesthetic.
It's really hit my eyeball this time. And then, who is the 4th partner? Brian fucking Danielson.
I imagine it's going to be pretty good.
Wow. And a legit pop.
Yeah.
And then they all get in the ring. Remind me, why is Danielson not like the Elite?
Oh, I had it written down. I forgot. It was something he said. Because it was the same with Kingston, and it might have been like before their match. The Kingston thing led to the dress code thing, but Danielson also said something about like being disrespectful. I'll have to look it up, but it's just a comment he made. And also Tony Khan, I don't know if this has been on TV though. Tony Khan has said publicly that, like, he would like Danielson to run his company if he's ever out. So that could be also a tie-in there too.
He's not quietly has a power position in the company too.
Oh, so. Also he has that newfound like incredible respect for Eddie Kingston.
Yes.
So
after
like that also like ties together.
That works. This is going to be fun.
He's going to rule.
It's going to be very fun.
Let's see Okada in a goddamn Anarchy Arena.
Yeah. And at one point, you're going to get the Okada-Danielson standoff.
Yeah.
And the place is going to melt.
I'm going to melt.
Yeah. So, good Dynamite.
Yeah, it was.
Like an above-average Dynamite.
But like I said, looking at the card prior and knowing like the situation because of Edmonton playoff game stuff, I went in with very low expectations. Yeah. And it was like very solid.
Crowd was good.
It was another one of those like, now don't do a bad one. You have to do 30 or 40 of these in a row, and you'll get back to where you want to be.
They got 2 weeks till a big pay-per-view, and they already felt like some of these things were like, what the fuck are we going to do for 2 weeks kind of thing. But like, again, cautiously optimistic.
But I still prefer that to the 2023 let's not do any build and then have to shoehorn everything in the like the show before.
Dude, maybe that's why they left the Kingdom off and Osprey off. Like maybe they're just staggering shit.
And then for the Callis family too.
For the go home, they'll throw everything on at once.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Historically, what we can probably expect, as we did last pay-per-view, and I mentioned it then too, next week might be a little bit of a not much happens episode, and then for the go home, or it'll be the other way. Sometimes they do the go home and it's really nothing until the last segment of the show.
Yeah.
And in that case, the second to last episode is the like bunch of big crazy stuff happens that really get you fired up.
Right.
I prefer that to happen on the go home show though. So
yes, get me excited about the card.
Yeah, as close to the card as possible. But sometimes that means, or most of the time that means that the penultimate the episode before the go home show is like, it'll be like a wrestling heavy show without a lot of story.
Right.
Probably is what I'm expecting for next week. But this one, very good.
Do all your showcase matches next week.
Absolutely.
Have Trent Beretta fight one of the local guys from Edmonton. Show me why he's to be feared.
Yeah.
Shit like that.
And I'm always happy to see Brody King bleed.
He's the best bleeder. He's got to get some heat back too.
Yeah.
Like the House of Black was just unbeatable. They were the White Walkers for a while.
Yeah.
And like they got to start getting some wins back.
If they're not doing the trios things, I like them all as singles competitors. Really,
I agree, but I would like them to win.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the thing.
But Brody's one of those guys that like I don't.
He doesn't need to win, but I want
lose
him
anything from him. He's like Samoa Joe. I do too because I'm a fan and I like love him. But I got no complaints about the way he's been booked. Really, like this match, right for Edge.
No, match was awesome. Championship match. He should have lost. Put him in there against some fucking nobody.
I would like to see him go on get some kind of a title though. Now, like start that process. Like get him, the TNT title eventually, in a month. Start that happening now. Get the ball rolling on that now.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
If a not Malachi Black took it off Edge.
And it could be like you split them up because it ends up being Brody's the guy that takes it. And Brody could turn babyface real easy too.
Yeah. It would be like when Damian Priest became the leader of Judgment
Except
Day.
it would work this time. Because Brody's got like charisma and talent.
Absolutely. He is mommy.
Speaking of Damian Priest and charisma and talent, like Dave and I, go check out the WWE half of Blue Thunder Pod, which will drop at the same time as this, as per usual. And coming up this week at some points, I'm sorry to not give you a solid deadline date, but there's a good reason for it. You'll see a very special episode of Turnbuckle Time Machine coming up. There's a reason for the delay that you guys will see when it drops, hopefully sometime this week. But go out, check out the WWE edition. Drops right now. We got a lot to talk about. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.